11.
That's a fuck. That's okay.
Change that, yeah.
Cool. You all set? Yes, sir. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to
YAHAWAH, Shalom Takadash.
Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. So we out here once again. We're gonna get right into it. You know, we're just discussing how, as you can see in the title, right, the truth is undeniable, and as the scriptures say, right, the knowledge shall be increased in the last times. Now we see that the Most High has given Esau, Edom, some degree of knowledge and wisdom, okay, but mainly to for perversion, right? Because his nature, as the scriptures say, the spirit that is in him is not upright. So he has taken that, as you even quoted earlier, Haran, that his knowledge and his wisdom, it has perverted him, right? So by actually gaining that knowledge and wisdom, because when you look into the technology, right, that they keep coming out with, it is like at the core of it, you know, like we were discussing, it's all math, but at the core of it, it's really complex, you know, and these are, as they call, breakthroughs that really the Lord puts into their minds, you know, different men that come on the scene at different times to basically come up with these technological advances, but it's so that they can fulfill prophecy, right? Because really, when you think about it, the MOTB that the Apostle John saw, right, even the beast system that he saw in Revelation, that takes a high level of technology to accomplish. You couldn't pull that off with the technology that they had in the ancient world. And that's why guys like Yuval Noah Harari always tout how now we're able to, you know, hack humans. The MOTB is about hacking humans. You know, that's what they want to do. And so they gather all this data, which is all what? Math, right? That's what it comes down to.
Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros, binary, you know, what's that? Graphos. You know, they gather all that data. And then from that, with these AI models that they're using, because really, when you look at what artificial intelligence does, it needs a platform, right? It's just built on top of your actual conventional technology, right? It runs on GPUs, it runs on CPUs, all the things that we use today, like regular computers, okay? And what they realized was you can't have, you know, some Indian in a shack and get like 20,000 of them and have them work as fast as technology, because no matter how fast you can click, AI can do it faster because it's doing it at the speed of electricity. All right. That's why when you actually look at a computer screen, you watch a video, in actuality, what's happening is it's just pictures, right? Like if you've ever seen like the old motion picture commercial where it was like a series of pictures, like even Marvel, yeah, just flipping pages very fast where it looks like it's actually motion. So the whole motion pictures is really what it is. It's just pictures on your screen, but they move so fast it looks fluid. Like right now with us talking and stuff, it's just pictures. But that goes to show you just how fast that technology is actually working under the hood. So by inventing artificial intelligence to do the same things you can do, but faster, it gives them more. That's why they always mention compute. And with that compute, they don't have to worry about the actual power to crunch this data. Now they can worry about what they want to use that to achieve, which, as we were discussing, is basically the like soothsaying or tapping into the spirit of left-hand prophecy through technology.
Yep, they like you just said, they basically want to be like the Most High, because that's what the Most High is. It's just an infinite amount of knowledge.
Right.
And what Esau is trying to do with his technology is be able to create something that can hold an infinite amount of technology, which through the AI, that's what they think super intelligence basically will be able to achieve. But they need a certain amount of energy, which is what the spirit is. It's energy. They need a certain amount of energy input in order to get to that level.
Right.
And it was, I think, Trump also spoke about how the fact that they're building all of these data centers, that energy going to have to come from somewhere, and that is why they think they're talking about making 15-minute cities. They're talking about, you know, basically downside depopping people, because too many people are using energy too much. So in order to be able to put so much a lot of energy into these computer data centers, they have to take it from somewhere else, which other people. And I think also, I don't know if I've read this or I saw a video on it. They were saying basically the C-hips are basically going to make people as batteries.
Yeah.
The people are going to be batteries for that system.
That's the whole semiconductors thing. That's the practice for the seed underneath your skin. Yeah. And there's the scripture saying, and I know you got a precept, but it mentioned that there was a grievous sore by which they that took the seed are going to get. And that's because of that radiation. When you look at how wireless communication works, like Wi-Fi is radio waves that go through the air. It goes through objects and it goes through people as well. And the way they're able to do that is by encoding messages through actual elements. So what they'll do is they'll have an oscillator, and when something oscillates, it means it just goes between two different like positions very quickly, right? So you can imagine like an electron that's bouncing up and down at a very quick pace. It's oscillating, right? So when you hear like 60 hertz is a measurement of like a frequency, which is based on how fast something is oscillating. So in order for them to actually create this electromagnetic field, which then they can encode the messages in. So when you have Bluetooth, for example, there's an electromagnetic field that's being created by the sender, and then it's being able to be received by an antenna inside of the receiver. So that's how you're able to send things through the actual air. Now, where it becomes a problem is when they put that C-hip inside of you, in order for that C-hip to function with anything else, whether it's like a scanner, a phone, or whatnot, it needs to actually act either as a receiver or a sender. And for that to do that, it needs to have that electrons oscillating inside of it, which is creating an electromagnetic field, and is also releasing radiation. So imagine if every interaction you have in life is going to be triggering this C-hip inside of your body to send and receive signals. You're basically turning your body into a host of just radiation. They tell you that having phones close to you is bad enough as it is, because when there was a video I saw where a guy had his two daughters, one of them he had hold the actual phone, and one of them he had not hold the phone, and he had some device that could measure radiation. And when the one that wasn't holding the phone, he measured it, it was normal. The one that was holding the phone, he gave the phone to her for like 2 seconds and then told her, all right, put it down. And then he measured her, and the thing was still going off the charts. So he was going to show you that just by holding your phone alone, you're already having those radioactive signals in your body that can make you sick, that can cause things like cancer. So if this is now implanted in your body and you're living with this and interacting constantly with this, what do you think is going to happen to you?
Just to add to your point, they said people that had them Apple Watches and shit, that they started to get like sores on them, and they started to develop cancer based off having like certain technology constantly on their body. So now all that information is out there, but then they're going to say, but listen, it's all good. You can get a device inside of you. Why do you think the Revelation 16 said it's going to be a grievous sore? Because your body's going to be, like the brother said, radiating. Anything that has electricity has an electromagnetic field. So life, we all have an electromagnetic field, but that's the way the Lord designed us. Esau's doing it in a way that's not in accordance official with how the Lord wants it to be done. He's doing it on the left-hand means, and he's disregarding life and safety and all those things to put this technology inside of you. Because we're going to have righteous technology in the kingdom, but we're not going to have to put nothing inside our bodies. We're going to be the ultimate creation of the Lord, not us merging ourselves with a machine to become something greater or something better, you know, transhumanism and all that. That's all bullshit. See, but through YAHAWAH, Shem YAHAWASHI, we're going to have all that. We're going to have all the power within us. We're not going to need technology and all this shit. But again, he's going through that left-hand means because that's all he got.
You said he had proof?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just Daniel 12, verse 4. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. For many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And like how the brother said, the Lord has certain men, you know, come up on the scene and make certain breakthroughs. And then eventually, you know, the world is as we see it today. Because when you really think about it, there are certain things that have been like the same for like thousands of years, right? There's been mathematicians like since the Babylonian times, at least on record, right? But all this shit, like they know how to add, subtract, divide, do all these things. But what good did it do them? Now, how is it that all of a sudden, in a few centuries, the same man uses the same method, and all of a sudden you're uncovering different things, and now they're putting certain things together, and then things start getting crazy, and now it's a world that's literally beyond anything that someone in the ancient times could have witnessed. You know, if you show this to someone in the ancient times, you're gonna say it's fucking sorcery. You know. Yeah. But if you took someone from the Babylonian time and you put him in a Roman time, you probably wouldn't see any difference, anything whatsoever. You wouldn't see anything. But you put him in our time, he'll probably go crazy seeing all the things we see here.
Hey, that's why the scripture says a time like never before. Right? Because when you look out through our history, there was never a time where AI was actually a god of people. Like AI has now become, your governance, your medical doctor, everything that you do is built is working with a computer. Right? And we was talking about this in the car, how they're shifting AI into the one sector that you want AI not to be, which is healthcare. Now, insurance companies are using AI to determine if whatever it is that you're going through, if insurance has to cover it or not. That's wicked as hell, man. And this AI is designed to save insurance companies from, spending money on people who pay insurance. So now you get there, you're looking for, subsidy or maybe workers' comp or whatever. The AI is reading your information and saying, nah, you know what, you don't be qualified for this shit. Yeah, it happened at work, but it could have happened anywhere else. So the AI determined that you don't get no insurance, not gonna cover for whatever you're gonna do after this. But you've been paying insurance this whole time. But now that you need it, AI is telling you you don't need it. It's fine. You go ahead and do your thing. And guess what? The doctors the ice cream thing. Yeah, the only thing you need a heart transplant,
Triple bypass.
yeah, triple bypass. AI says, nah, you need just ice cream and water. Sit his ass down someplace. Give him some more ice cream when he's done with that. Give him some more. Bill Gates is making a whole bunch of it in them labs, man. He's giving them some more. But you got it, bro.
No, I'm saying they also about that. They were talking about we talked about that Thursday when Medicare or Medicaid, how they talk about using AI to get people like to see if you're eligible to still keep getting it.
Yeah.
Actual Medicare and Medicaid and shit.
That's you actually being a number.
Yeah.
Like you just like they're gonna put they're gonna put you into a simulation to say whether or not it's optimal for you to be eligible for this or not.
Yep.
So it has nothing to do with who you are as an individual, your situation. And they showed you that in iRobot when they remember he took old girl, he saved him instead of the girl, and she was like, save the girl, the girl.
Yeah.
And then the robot was like, based off of my calculations, you have more of a chance of surviving than her.
That's what made me not like the
movie. He was like, and then that's why he hated robots, because Will Smith was like, a human would have known that you save the girl first. Like you try to save the girl, don't try to save me.
That's right.
But that's how Esau wants society to be set up. You take the human element out of society.
And that's what forces people's compliance. Because now you're doing this, now you're starting to see the beast system because it's very unrelenting. It doesn't compute with your feelings, emotions, or what capacity. If it's like, the computer says this guy has to be put to death, no matter what the situation is, even if they're innocent, they gotta get put to death. That's what the computer says. And guess who said that? Alex Karp said that shit. Remember we're talking about him today? That devil. He said that shit. He said, AI in healthcare is going to determine who lives and who dies. That's what he said. He used those terms, who lives and who dies. What are you trying to say? You like the Most High. You can decide who lives and who dies now because you created a machine that can tell you who lives and who dies.
What that machine can't do, it might can compute that shit, but what is the Most High also known for? Mercy. Yeah. You can't. That computer can never have mercy.
Yeah. Of course, the Earth would have been destroyed. Like 5 minutes into creation.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, there you go. But you know what? You're right that you brought up Age of Ultron. Because technically speaking, Esau would have created a machine that would destroy all of humanity. And the reason is because the machine wouldn't be wrong. As a matter of fact, when you read the scriptures, the Lord ought to really destroy humanity. But because of his mercy, he doesn't. So logically, you would say, well, by calculation, if you look at what's really the problem with the world, it's you. So if you really want a good world, we need to take you out of here. But the Most High says, no, I'm going to have a remnant and show what? Mercy. I'm going to actually deliver you through what? Through mercy. AI wouldn't do that.
Ooh, I got a good precept with that. First Corinthians. What was that? 1 Corinthians. No, it's like Romans 11. Goes down. Damn, I'm bugged. Romans chapter 11. I'm gonna start at verse 20. Start at. Damn, it's all good. I'm gonna start at verse 28. It says, as concerning 26. So all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant with them, when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. For gifts and calling are of the Most High are without repentance. I'm gonna keep reading. For as ye in the time past have not believed the Most High, though ye now have obtained mercy through their unbelief, so even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For the Most High have concluded them all in unbelief, so that he might have mercy upon them all. Oh, the depths of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out. Because as you just said, based off of what is the right, like not the right thing to do, but based off of man or humans patterns and what they know and what they're going to do, you would look at it like, yo, everybody, they should be put to death. Like, yo, you should just get rid of the water. Oh, same one. You should get rid of all humanity,
right?
Because they're just always going to fall into the same pattern of just decadency, the same pattern of just decrepancy. But the Lord's knowledge is past your understanding of what you should be, what is right and wrong, so to speak. And that's why it says the depth is unsearchable, and it really goes through what the mercy of the Lord. Esau can't create a computer that is perfect and has mercy.
Right.
You can't create that.
Because Esau doesn't have a trait of mercy, right? He doesn't believe in mercy. That's why in his mind, he's like, no, we're just going to wipe out the whole human race. Fuck it. And we're just going to replace them with robots and machines, right? Look at how they treat animals. Scripture says what? The tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
I can hold it.
So they don't have mercy. Look how they treat animals, bro. Animals sometimes it's like, yo, they just move how they're built. Humans actually can control certain things, certain outcomes. Like people actually think things out. And this is how they look at the so-called justice system. It's an injustice system. Okay? You create a whole system that's just predicated on people's sicknesses, people's diseases, death, destruction, and you make money off of that. That's a God without mercy, man. That's a damn demon. Okay? And that's who's running this world, talking about they're going to use AI to make things better. Look at what DJ Trump is doing. Right? He is a representative of the people that the Lord hates. Okay? He quite literally. And what is he saying? That it's going to get worse. He said, oh, this government shutdown is only going to worsen. And he's letting you know he's going to be coming after you, some so-called democratic states. He said that shit. So no longer are we dealing with a president who's for America. We're dealing with a president who says, nah, you Democrats, we're coming after you. And Democrats is mostly who? You jakes. All right? Yeah, the plebeians, the plebs. Yep, they're gonna show you that you just. As a matter of fact, in the book, Behold the Pale Horse, they tell you this guy, what's his name? What's it, Bill? Bill. Okay, Cooper. He basically said in the book that they allowed this the TG, the ubiquitous lifestyle, the perverseness and all that. They made it seem like they were supporting your freedoms. But at the end of it all, they don't want you in their new world order like that. They don't want that shit. They're doing that to destabilize society. And through the destabilization, they can then come and overturn it with violence. But when it's actually time to institute this new order, they're going to eliminate all of them. They're going to do them like they did the small, supposedly did the small hats. Okay, they're going to come after you and they're going to start eliminating you because, one, you don't have a place in their society. Your role was just to disrupt the normal way of life. Yeah, destabilize. So when they use their subversion tactics, where they broke up the nuclear family, and then they start to turn women into whores and men into effeminate, and start to do all that, you were to play that role, okay, to destabilize, because a country where you have a nuclear home is harder to destabilize than one where it's like a Plato society. Yeah, where woman is in control.
You know what's interesting? Because you're just talking about that, like they play a role, like that goes back to what we were talking about. That you have something to say?
No, you're good.
Oh, that goes into them playing a role, goes into them trying to use or predict a certain amount of individuals that could be useful into stabilizing. So they kept pushing that agenda out because they wanted to get to a certain amount of the population. And it kind of reminded me of what they talked about with the jump shot. They wanted a specific number, 70%. Whatever predictions or whatever calculations that they had, that was an important number for them to reach because of whatever they had planned on with the, the Depop or whatever they got planned on later for that. So that's why they were so adamant about getting people to do it. And you had Joe Biden say, "We've been patient, but our patience is running thin," right? They was remember, you couldn't even say the word on there.
Yeah.
But now you can say it because they already reached that number.
Mission accomplished.
They already had that number accomplished. So it's going to be the same thing with the seed. But that's why with that, they want everybody. So that's why once they get ready to have that be full force, they can't have people out being able to talk against it. That's why they're coming against free speech right now. So that once they get to that point, they already have it to where now, you know what? In order for you to go online or whatever, you already got to be in compliance with what we were talking about.
Right.
Because if you're not, you can't even go online.
Right.
That was just search.
It could be that that might have been preparing people's bodies for the seed.
Yeah.
That's where if you ain't take it, because remember the seed is a foreign object coming into your body. Most cases, your body's gonna reject a foreign object being placed inside of it. That's where you get like sometimes people would go as far as autoimmune diseases.
So I was just thinking, what if those that got it, once they put that foreign, that's where the severe sores come in. Like something happened with them, they get fucked up.
Well, the jump shot, they said it has a whole bunch of foreign substances that we're not going to go into. And then when you look into the things that is made of the things that they use to make the sea hip, there's one particular element in there called lithium. And the other day I was looking into it. What are the causes of what are some of the side effects of having lithium in your body? And it says from the various tests that they've done, there's a certain amount of lithium that gets inside a human body that causes cancer. Okay, and then when you go a little bit more into it, it's like, what kind of cancer does this cause? It says based on where the lithium is inside of a foreign object, in this case the sea hip, then wherever that thing is going to be placed, where it's going to be using your body as the battery to run it, that place is going to cause an actual sore. It says it right there. And I was like, oh shit. So when you actually go into the words in the book of Revelation and you tie it all in, that's exactly what John was seeing. That people took the sea hip and it caused a grievous sore in their body because of what was already in them to begin with. There's a whole bunch of concoctions.
It's funny, if I'm not mistaken, lithium, I want to say that dude I was driving, he from Ukraine. I want to say lithium is one of the joints that's in Ukraine right now. With the resources. Yeah, I think lithium was mentioned. It is, right? Yeah. And also too, to add on, if I may, because it made me think about these devils doing a diligent search, because like they be experimenting on shit. Like all that shit be experiments they be doing. If you watch their movies, these devils be like, yo, like I always think about the Niggas in Paris song, where it's like, yo, it gets the people going. They be looking at shit that what people watch, what people react to, how people react when certain liberties are taken away. They're doing it right now. Look how they're making everything expensive. And look how these Edomites, look how the citizens are wilding out right now. So now there's like, all right, people are getting ramped up. People are getting ramped up. That's going to bring the martial law. Think about it. It's like a perfect play. Get everybody riled up and they say, we got the solution right here. Hey, you want to be good in society, you'll get to see it. We talk about on the way over here in 2028, Bill Gates said, if you don't have a digital ID, Bill Snick, excuse me, if you don't have a digital ID, you can't be in society. So
they're gonna get a lot of people with it.
Yeah.
Oh, they said in the UK they're trying to extend it to like 13 years old.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have it, you can't. They literally tell you if you don't have it, you can't work. What does working entail? Because somebody's job is to sell things and somebody's job is to buy things as part of their actual labor. But they're showing you, they're literally gradually walking you into that prophecy, poeo, right? He calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor. So what they're doing as they're doing it is they're setting up the cause, they're seeing the reaction, and then they're bringing in the solution. Mm-hmm. And they've been using these simulation, this like AI is not new. They've been using this when you go back to when they turned the stock market from a free market to a fixed market. They used AI. Okay, but at the time they just call it simulations. When they use the whole concept of silent weapons for quiet wars, that's based on simulations. Okay. And so sometimes they'll have a world event or a national event happen, and it's based on a simulation that they run. And then they gather data, like Elijah was saying, and then they feed it into their little simulator to find out, okay, there's something we can't actually test with actual human data, so we have to run it in a simulation. And based on the accuracy of that, we can know how we're going to operate. Yeah, event 201. So they actually have machines, supercomputers that you plug this into. And I remember there was a tactic they used for the markets where they would mess with the markets and they would delay the reaction of it. So I forgot the exact details of it, but if you were to say dump a whole bunch of stocks out of nowhere, there's a certain reaction that happens. Or if you were to buy a whole bunch out of nowhere, there's a certain reaction that happens. But what they would do is they would trigger it to gain the benefits, and then they would delay the actual reaction of it until decades later. And all of a sudden you're wondering why the market just tanked out of nowhere? Or why did stocks just go up out of nowhere? Because through their simulations, that's how they were actually able to control the market and make it elastic as they did the dollar.
I was talking with the chat, and there's a few things in here, but the last thing they said, because I asked it, I said, so does numbers help you manipulate the elements? So they gave me a bunch of things. They said, short answer is yes, but indirectly. Numbers don't wave a magic wand over atoms. They let you understand, predict, and control how physical stuff behaves, and that's how we manipulate the elements. So the last thing it said so numbers are the language that links ideas to predictions to actions. And those predictions are the simulators that you were talking about. They already have an idea, but then they want to play out this idea. They want to play out this idea to see what the action would be. So they do a prediction. So they use the numbers as a way to predict how this idea would work. And that's everything that people are doing. That's what Esau is doing right now with this whole beast system. He is doing. It's a numbers game, Sam. It's a numbers game because it's a way for him to try to figure out how can he get everybody under this system. As you said, being in compliant with the idea of what he wants.
I was going to say real quick. When you mentioned that. Prediction actually plays a big role in artificial intelligence. They actually have something called predictive models, right? And the concept of that was it would predict the next word that it should use in response to whatever question you ask it. So when you ask chat a question and it's responding, at first they were saying that it was using it's a predictive model because it would use what they call similarity search to find out what is the most likely word that should go next in the sentence, and then form that sentence to actually give you an answer.
When it talks about LLM, large language models, the language is what? Math, right?
Yeah, ultimately, yeah. That's literally the language of computers.
That's the language. Yep. So that computer is the more data you can put in the computer, the more numbers you can put in it, the more better you'll be able to predict what is going to be.
Yep.
What the next outcome should be.
Yep, that's literally what they tell you. Like the more advanced models have a larger training data sample, and when you actually open up that sample, it's just numbers. It's literally just numbers. In fact, the way computers speak, they call it NLP, natural language processing, is through numbers. So if you were to upload a document into ChatGPT and ask it questions about it, the first thing it does is it takes that document and vectorizes it. So it turns the actual numbers and characters in the document into a vector. A vector is like an array of numbers. Just think of it as numbers together. And it'll take that, put it in a certain database of just numbers. And every time you ask it a question, it'll take your question, turn that into numbers, and compare it to the numbers in the database and see how close are they to each other to find out the right answer for you. So if you ask it a question about cats, it'll say, oh, he's asking about cats. What do I know about cats? So all in all it's doing is turning everything you give it into numbers, and then it can actually understand it. And then after that, it can respond back to you in human language. It's just conversion back into numbers.
You brought it up. Definition of predictive modeling uses historical data to create mathematical models that forecast future outcomes.
And then they have to use math. All those models are based on math, like the Zaquan was mentioning, because that's the thing about math is it's absolute. You're either right or you're wrong. That's one thing I liked about math. If you understand it, you understand it. If you don't, well, hey, Lord have mercy. But you either understand it and you're right or you're wrong. So what they do is they say, well, like it says, based on history, if we see 2 plus 2, it doesn't matter if this was during Abraham's time or during our time. 2 plus 2 is always going to be what? 2. So if we've seen, hey, 4. Shit, look at that. Hey.
Wait a minute.
I ain't AI. I'm human.
We got mercy.
But yeah, so long story short is they'll know that, hey, if we can use historical data, if we can find out 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, then we can predict under any circumstances that will create a scenario of 2 plus 2, the answer would be 4. So that way they can tell, oh, well, based on what we're seeing now, in the next 5 years, we would have a situation of 2 plus 2. That means what? The outcome is going to be 4. So I can tell you 10 years from now, you're going to see 4.
That's what it says here in the chat. It says numbers turns observations into rules.
There you go. Yep.
What do they say? What do the numbers say?
Yep. And they follow those rules of everything. Like they say, like rules of physics, right? Rules of this, rules of that.
And it says, once you have that formula, right? Once you have that formula or mathematical model, you can predict anything based off of that rule now.
Oh.
Well, they go to the Rain Man counting card shit. They said it's all about all that gambling is all about probability. I remember that in math class. Probability. What's the probability of this? Probability of that. Percentage of this.
Hey, well, you know, that's a part. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That even puts into more. It gives you even a better picture of why John Paul is the beast system. Because imagine that it's just going. It's making rules based off of patterns. Like, okay, what if this situation doesn't match that same pattern? You're gonna have to treat it the same way because, hey, regardless of what it is, hey, your head got to be chopped off. So hey, it is what it is. The patterns say people who believe in the Bible has to get chopped off. So we just gonna do it regardless, whether you believe it or not. You just in that area, so we just be chopping that head off. It's like stupid ass rules that everyone is gonna have to comply by.
But the rule is, what's the idea? The rule or the idea that they want is for them to stay in power.
Right.
So in order for them, if that's the platform, right? Because like with AI, they said, what is your? I remember watching movies. That what is your main objective? Like you have your foundational objective for AI. If your foundational objective that they're telling them the AI, how do we stay in power? This is you got anybody that doesn't take that charisma, you got to get them killed. Then that's why they're going to have that as a rule, because as long as we have people that don't take this charisma, there's a possibility that we won't be able to stay in power.
Opposition.
That's literally what they do because the model itself might not tell. It might give you suggestions, right? Like if you ever talk to where you say something like, "Yo, go on this website. I'm trying to apply for a job. Go on this website and find out what their requirements are." It'll do that, sure, and then it'll respond and it'll go and it'll find the requirements, and then it'll ask you a follow-up. Would you like me to draft a resume or edit your resume according to the requirements that they have? And after that, I'll say, would you like me to submit it? Or would you like me to fill out this form? Or would you like me to give you the contact info of the HR recruiter? Now, why? And you'll say yes. But why would it know to ask you those things? Because it's based on rules behind the scenes to say, well, if you're asking about job requirements over here, historically, when everybody asks about job requirements over here, they're doing it because they want to apply.
Take it.
And if you want to apply, you need a resume. So if you need a resume, I'm already on it. When you look at ChatGPT now, they have the reasoning steps. When you ask it a question, it'll say like understanding the user's query. User wants to know this. Then it'll tell you all the steps that it's taken to reason about this. So like the Zaquan said, they may say, yo, we want to stay in power, right? This is what we want. Make sure that anything that gets in our way, give us a solution for it. And then you presented problems or scenarios. What do we do with these kinds of people? Well, based on what your objective is, if you actually allow these people not to, to exist, you're going to have this probability, right? Because it'll run. Well, the thing about these models is they can run simulations in parallel. It's like creating alternative universes of different outcomes and telling you the best one. And then it'll tell you, okay, based on this is why this is going to work. And then that's where you get your answer. Oh, okay. So when it comes to the Hebrew Israelites, this is what we got to do to them. Okay, what about the useless eaters? Well, based on running all these possibilities. Well, if you let them live, this could happen. If you let them live and you do this could happen. If you don't let them live, this could happen. It runs all of those and then gives you, according to your rule, what makes the most sense for you to stay in power.
And that's why they talked about that program, Project Looking Glass, where they said that they kept trying to put in a situation, but every time it kept giving them saying it probably was that. Yeah. It probably was the fact that they was asking the model, like, what happens if we don't see if everybody? Or what happens if these Israelites don't take, like these people don't take the sea? And they keep trying to give them scenarios where if we don't take it, it was like, yo, if they don't take it, the Lord's coming back to destroy you. Like, you're not getting past that. And so, like, I just say that's based off of what? Our faith. That's why it says the hour of temptation. Because in their mind, they're like, yo, we should create a scenario to where we can break their faith. We can break their faith and then they'll take it, then we're good. But that's what the Lord gave us. He gave us faith. That's something that you can't really measure. There's no numbers is evidence. There's no evidence of faith. That's why it says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That comes from above. That's beyond your scope. That's beyond your bound. So the fact that we now have faith in YAHAWASHI, that basically overrides your system.
Right.
It overrides your whole system.
And then where their shit breaks is when like you said, you got to break their faith, and then it'll say, okay, torture them. And then they torture you, but what they don't account for is you can't measure faith. So AI tells you to torture them because naturally a human being that's tortured gives in. But you try that on the elect and they don't. And then you say, now what? And then you run back to it and says, oh, did you try torturing them this way? And then they tried it and it doesn't work. And then that's when Esau realizes you're now trying to use artificial intelligence, or the Lord really sees it as another idol. The reason is because it's made of the hands of man, but man looks at it as a superior being that can rival that of the Most High, because that's what they're thinking. Yeah, worthy to be worshipped. So the Most High looks at your technology, your artificial intelligence, like just like a stone or a stock, as he had the prophets, speak on all the time. So what you don't account for is you think, oh well, we're going to torture them until they give in, and then you torture them and it doesn't work. In fact, it really just triggers the wrath of the Most High. That's when they realize, oh shit, all of our efforts are futile.
Oh, that computer right there is off.
Definitely.
Because they got malware.
I did visual. A visual for him.
Speak up.
Technology now is another way. It's like another altar, like another altar to life, like another option. Like getting high or getting drunk with us like that. It's just to escape life. A lot of people do things to escape life. Right. So when you think about the technology, like you can get consumed in. Like you have people that just on their phone all day, on the internet all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just consume, and they just scrolling. Like I even caught myself just scrolling through YouTube like the short.
Right.
I was like, oh shit! Oh, I got to sit down.
Yeah.
It's becoming addicting.
Right.
And then now, through gradualism, they're introducing the beast system, and people are just going to gradually just go towards it because it's just like, okay, it's another alternative to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So so you're moving out of one thing to going for another. You know what I mean?
And they're putting it everywhere. Oh, I just saw this morning on Google Chrome. Now, you know how they had like the AI mode and AI. Now there's a button on the top right that looks like the Gemini AI symbol. That's like you can click that and you can talk to your browser and ask it questions about everything you're seeing.
Was that y'all, or I think I see something where they said that within the next year or two, you're not going to have, like, Google is going to look like ChatGPT.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be. You're not going to have links anymore. It's going to, you type in something in Google. It's going to that AI mode thing.
Yeah,
that's going to just be that.
No, this shit is crazy technology. I was not that technology shit crazy to me, but like it just made me think about, when we talk about numbers, how get back to these devils and what they're trying to do. Now the Lord said your days are numbered. So every time you come along with all this new shit, you thinking like, we about to do this, we about to see, we about to AI. That's just you're not coming down to your last day. Right. Your numbers, your days is numbered. The Lord said your kingdom, you was gonna go you as a bound you can't pass. So like you about to get to that. When you elevate and in your technology, you're really getting put down, you're close to being put down out of your existence and out of your rule. So we need you to continue the digital AID, see him, continue the fucking malware, continue the other numbers, the 01s and the, we do this, all that shit, man, continue doing that shit. Because at the end of the day, as more advanced you get, the more you're actually going to digress and then the numbers of those nukes is going to come then the motherfucker, y'all just gonna nuke each other, and that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. That's really what I don't mean it sounded crazy funny, but I'm dead serious because like, yo, listen, they talk about America got 5,000 something missiles, so we got a number of that, and the number is going to increase to millions. China said they got the 61, where 60 warheads, nuclear, and 1 hydrogen bomb could come anywhere in the world in 20 minutes. Count that. Yeah. Then you got all this. Come on, man, it's about to get crazy in this technology. You'll hear all these brothers talk because like they into this stuff, and I'm listening to this myself. Like, damn, man, like what the fuck?
Hey, calculate that equation.
Yeah, calculate that, yo. Your days is number, like the Lord said. Your days is number.
I got a precept.
No, I was just gonna go back to that topic that you was mentioning about the Project Looking Glass. Now I remember Elder Yahawah did a video on it, and I remember did a video on it as well, and I looked at it. So they brought in a couple of individuals, mostly an Edomite looking guy talking, and he said they brought in a couple of individuals. They didn't get too deep into stuff, but they said, look, we want you to run a simulation or something and see if there's a desired outcome that we want to get. So then he said that they wouldn't go too far into it, but it was pretty much they're desiring to like get out of something. They've seen something to where like, look, there's something that's gonna happen and we want to escape that. He said they didn't go into what it is. They didn't go into depth because he was like, well, you want us to do something, but you're not getting too deep into it so we can know how to maybe go a little bit more further to help you out. But they was like, nah, it's as far as we go. We just want a desired outcome because we're trying to escape something. That's all. And that's how, as far as they went. And like he said, numbers. So they know and they've seen something to where it's like, there's something that's going to happen where we're trying to escape. And hence the name Project Looking Glass. We're trying to look and see that we've seen something that's going to happen and we're trying to escape from that. And they have people working on stuff to escape that, but they don't go too deep into what it is. It's probably on a need to know basis and things like that.
Higher ranking people know.
You think about how they select it, how they trying to escape it, going back to their only outcome is going to have to be put to death. Trying to kill people that don't take heed to it. That's what they did with Anthropics. When they used basically a simulation and they basically try to trap the AI to say how to get out of you basically being shut down. And it created this whole scenario. It was like, yo, first he tried to blackmail, but then it was like, yo, they actually thought about ways to try to kill the CEO in order so it won't get shut down. That's Esau. That's the mindset basically of Esau. Like, how do I get out of being shut down, my power being shut down? Yeah. We put all of these computing, you make AI is made based off of your brain, nigga. So at the end of the day, it's going to be like, you know what, you gotta delete them niggas.
Like the Urkelbot tried to take over.
Remember when I told you, I think it was the YAHAWAH, but he put out a video where a dude, they basically asked AI to create an image of itself.
Oh,
and it created a fucking
it was a top hat, right?
It was an Orthodox Amalekite.
Out of all people.
With the big ass beard, with the jacket on, with the top hat. It was a fucking Amalekite.
That's crazy.
I'm like, yo, come on, you can't say nothing. That's right there, man. The proof is in the pudding. It's in the pudding.
Esau, he will not be able to hide himself, even with AI, because really it all goes back to his hatred. He's creating an AI system to the point where they're talking about it might get to AGI in a few years, artificial general intelligence, where the shit is just going to be out of control. Or ASI, right?
AGI, they say you get by to next year. And then, brother, AGI next year, and they say ASI by 2030. With that super intelligence?
That's 2030?
They say it goes beyond the intelligence of a human.
Yeah, they said
and that's his hatred. His hatred is so deep. He's creating a system that's detrimental to him, life, and everything, just to get at us. Because that's what it's all about. Palantir profile for all the brothers, right? Like you got an IG profile, they're gonna have a Palantir profile. You're gonna say, look what he's saying. And listen, do what you gotta do. We don't give a damn. All right, we're not gonna be reckless, of course. We're gonna use wisdom, but they already got this video alone. This lesson right here alone is enough for them to say and put us on the news and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you doing all that because you hate us that much that you're willing to risk everything just to get at us, man. But we nobodies, right? That goes to show that, hey, we somebody, you know. So YAHAWASHI outside, even though somebody.
I am somebody.
But we, you know, we humble, so we say we nobodies in this world. But hey, YAHAWASHI, you know, he looks at the lowest as something.
But you know what he did? You know why it is? It's because the Most High chose us. Really, he got beef with the Most High.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what he really got beef with. Because if you can go back to Cain, you gonna bring it up. He told the Lord, Cain told him, like, yo, you put too much of a burden on me. I can't bear this. But you still gotta bear that shit. You still gotta keep that shit. So and I think YAHAWASHI also spoke about it, how they can't get to the son of the house, the master of the house, so they attack the servants. That's who they're coming after. It's us. Because that's why scripture says, I shall be like the Most High. I'm trying to be like Jacob. We're really an image of the Most High, but we're in a low state right now.
Right.
They want to be like the Most High, but because they can't be like the Most High, they come after the people who the Lord put His image on. It's jealousy.
That's the whole like concept of like hostages. Like, you know, even though they innocent, they haven't done anything to you. The fact that you know it's a loved one of somebody you hate, you go to them.
Right.
You know.
Oh, you've been ransomed.
Oh, you've been ransomed.
Word.
Get that scripture. I think it's
One of the things that they hate most of all is like the loyalty and the Lord for him. And that's why he wanted everybody to take him that, because like you can't he looks at the Most High and he sees how much respect and love his servants have for him, and he's like, yo, I want that, you know, I want to be like that. But nobody loves this fucking guy. Like nobody respects it. You know, so what he has to rely on the sword and deception, and ultimately it's all gonna come in the form of the see him, you know, and that's it on that.
Hey, but you know what? That's literally why the Apostle John talks about the Antichrist must come, right? And that there are many Antichrists. Literally, these devils are like the Squad said, they're anti-Messiah. They're the antithesis to the Heavenly Father and His Son. That's why they set up a system. You see how hard the world is now? Because, like the brother said, they're pushing this AI on people because that's their attempt to be like the Most High. Over here, we create a platform. We can literally take you and your consciousness and put it on our platform where we can rule you forever. What's this guy? Bill Cooper said that. He said eventually they want to depopulate the whole. No. Bill Cooper is strong for the best. Really? Yeah. Bill Gates' name is William Gates.
That's why I'm saying that sometimes. Yeah.
William Clinton.
Bill and William. Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey, his name is actually James.
Man.
That's why they call him Willie.
You know, so he was saying, once they're done this with the depopulation, he said in the midst of that, those who are left, they're gonna have them see him controlled by a computer. Now, when he was saying that back in the 80s and 90s, now it makes sense what computer he's talking about. All these AI, and all that shit, man. You know, but again, it goes back to that point of them trying to be like the Most High. They're not trying to be like Jacob because they're already sitting on the Mount of Congregation. They're already sitting on Jacob. We already got you under our feet. We're not trying to be like you. Yeah, you got the blessings and all that, but guess what? We have power over you right now. If we could be like him, we could change all those promises.
Right. There's one Jacob that he not like.
Nah, the one.
The one.
That's
why he got preeminence over all men.
There you go.
Trying to be immortal.
There you go. That's why he's anti-Messiah, because that one is the one that changes everything. If I could be anti him and get his brothers to be anti him, then we got something going on.
But he's trying to get what he got also. Because what's the only man that got immortality?
The prototype.
Let's get this order. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, sort of at verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And when he goes to that word perdition, it means what? Destruction. So then he creates from his own artificial hands, his artifacts. What does he create? He creates artificial intelligence.
In a different translation, it says the man of sin, it says the lawless man of the lawless one. How did YAHAWASHI get immortality? The obedience. The lawful one. The lawful one.
There was something Hebrew that said something about YAHAWASHI's obedience.
Why did Cain fall? Because he was disobedient. He was lawless.
Disobedient
Why
child.
did Adam fall? Right?
Oh yeah, he was disobedient. But he was YAHAWASHI come back as the last Adam.
To now turn it from disobedience to obedience, and then set the trend for the rest of us to follow too. Okay, but then Esau says, nah, F that. You know what? I'm gonna be like the Most High. F all this. Why do you think he's gonna make war against YAHAWASHI when he comes back? He's trying to stop YAHAWASHI from establishing himself as the righteous ruler upon the face of the earth.
Esau says, no, I'm gonna be the king. You know, it's crazy how Yahawashi says the last enemy that he was going to defeat is death. Yeah. And it's like with Esau, he thinks the last enemy he's going to defeat is life, not Yahawashi. Because in his mind, if he can defeat Yahawashi when Yahawashi comes back, he's won. Right. He's won everything. That means death has prevailed, which is impossible.
They defeated them. Just to go into what you're saying, we talking about numbers, right?
Yeah.
Psalms 40:5. Many, O Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us word. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. See? So you're trying to put it in a certain box and try. You can't measure the Most High, man. He's beyond you, man. You in this little box, man. And soon you're going to be in captivity in a pit. All right? But it says, sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Why is that? Because obedience is better than sacrifice. So everything that Esau doing, all these big AI and, you know, these big computing centers and this and that, you know, really he's just a scorned child that was rejected. He's trying to do something impressive. And the Lord has rejected everything you're doing. So everything, no matter how it's so-called, because the world will be impressed. We ain't impressed, man. The Lord ain't impressed. Most importantly, Yahawashi ain't impressed. And it says, and just a couple more, it says, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. I delight to do thy will, oh my God, yea, thy law is within mine heart. So as we were saying, you know, Yahawashi is the opposite of the lawless one. He's the one who the law was in his heart. You know, so the law being in your heart is the new covenant. So Yahawashi was the first one to actually embody that and actually live a life that is that. And that's why he achieved immortality. Right.
That's the only way you can
Right. Spotless lamb. Doing so, nothing you can ever do, Esau, will ever get you to that point. And that's why you have to go through, oh, I'm going to merge myself with a machine to do it. Oh, vanity, man.
Set themselves and rule us together against Yahweh.
Oh, run that in the NLT.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So. You start at the top.
And I
No. Oh, they said you got to download. My story.
Psalm chapter 2, verse 1. We start with
That's all I want.
in the NLT, it says, why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans?
And that's what that is, man. Your plan of what you're trying to accomplish is futile. And it's because of what you did 2,000 years ago. That's why Yahawashi, when he was on the scene, when he was on the cross, he said, it is finished. Matter of fact, you can go look up that the brother got the blue letter, look up the word finished. Well, go ahead.
Verse 2, Psalm 2, verse 2, it says, the kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed one.
Ooh, see? You plot together against the Most High and his anointed one. The plan or the plot that they have is literally to heaven against your maker. That's a futile. Like when you really think about your the concept of what Esau is trying to do, you're actually foolish to think that you can actually beat your maker. He know Esau, these elites, they know what the Yuval say. The God of Jacob is not just the God, he's the God of Jacob, but he's the God of all the fathers, including you. So the fact that during your mind that you do something or create something to where you can fight against him, that's a futile fight. You shouldn't do it. You should have stopped.
And realize the fact that he just said that means the Most High is in control. Because, like you said, no, they supposed to be wise it became. And now realizing that the fact that they think they can outsmart the Most High is the Most High actually making them think that. It's a pleasure.
That's not the most stuff. Like, I think the brother wants to say something too, right?
Oh, yeah, you know, I probably Lord. Well, this part right now they don't feel it because they're carnal. I mean, they can only see what's in the flesh, and you know, and I guess determine whatever they can from the flesh. You know what I mean? So this is when YAHAWASHI comes back with those angels, they're gonna be scared. They're gonna be in fear. You know what I mean? Because this is an entity that they have never seen or known before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, he's pregnant. He said, "I shall not meet thee as a man." I mean, shit. Hey, listen. Let's just say that as a man. There you go. That would be a problem.
Now, I was gonna say that's why the Most High tricked him with the whole thing with Jacob, but also when YAHAWASHI gave him that blessing, that's also really the Most High tricking him itself, right? Because YAHAWASHI came back in the scene and he told Peter, "He that liveth by the sword will die by the sword."
Right.
But he gave you the blessing of the sword.
Right.
So you think you're here, why you sweating the Most High, but the Most High got you in the trick bag, and eventually see, everybody knows he's a fool except for him. And this is crazy. Everybody knows this guy's a fucking idiot, but he doesn't see it yet. That's the what's the they call it I forgot what the fucking psychologists call it. But when you're oblivious and when you're such a narcissist that you're oblivious to yourself.
Like sociopath.
Yeah.
Delusional.
All right. Go ahead. I appreciate it. Oh, not well, no, we had something we was going to read about.
A brother got the word that
I got finished. Yeah.
Donate.
Numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so
Spiritual. How this place is a modern day Babylon, right? But the ancient Babylonians had a deity called number, right? When you in the English it's translated to number, and then I think in the original sense it's many or many, right? The god of what? Fate or fortune. So ain't that something right there? Yep. So there you go. So that whole because the whole concept of like luck and all of that goes back to the Babylonians, right? It's a deity that they actually serve, that they're supposed to give you good fortune if you worship and serve it. And then you had Jake starting to worship that. So it's interesting.
The lottery system.
Yeah, the whole lottery system. Yeah. Back to it. So it's interesting how it's called number, and then they're predicting through numbers too.
winning numbers.
Yep.
So brother got to finish? Yeah, so you read that? Yeah, read that word finished.
So we got finished.
And this is when YAHAWASHI was on the cross, where he said right before he gave up the spirit, he said it is finished. 5,000.
Teleao. It says, you wanted to, which one you wanted to go?
You read them all.
Okay, yeah. So here we go. It says finished Teleao. It says to make perfect, complete, to carry through completely, to accomplish, to finish, to bring to an end, to complete, make perfect, add what is yet wanting in order to rendering a thing full, to be found perfect, which YAHAWASHI is, to bring to the end goal proposed, to accomplish, bring to a close of fulfillment by events of the prophecies of the scriptures.
Bam. But that last one right there, because everything is in line to the word of the Lord. And that's what this devil is trying to fight against. Like it's already written what you're going to do, but you're trying to fight against the end goal of what the Lord said. And you can't fight out. You can't get out of that parameter. You won't do that. You can't get out of those dimensions of what the Lord put you in. So when the Lord did what he did, when YAHAWASHI, he actually brought us to perfection through what he did to bring the end of the prophecies. Because I think it's in Sirach, it speaks about all of the heathen's age. When you read the history of the heathen's age, there's an end to that. Right. There's an end to the heathen's age. Everything might not be in detail, but we know how the heathen's age ends. There's nothing written about the end of Jacob's age. Right. You can't write that because it says the days of Israel are unnumbered. It's innumerable. And that's why, that is what the kingdom of God on earth. That's why the kingdom of heaven is also known as the kingdom of Israel. It's also known as the kingdom of God. Yahweh said, believe and repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. That kingdom is going to be unnumbered because the people that's going to be ruling is going to have the most high. It's going to have the most high in them. They should be my people, and I, the Lord, shall be their God. My tabernacle of God is with men. We're literally going to have the most high on the earth, through, like living in us.
Father, right?
And
John said we're going to be many most high.
many most high, because that's what YAHAWASHI is. But he's the first of many brethren. An innumerable many most highs.
Damn, that sounds crazy.
That's why when you look at, like as Juan said, all these heathen captivities, but also rulerships, they all came to an end. And when you go into the prophecy in the book of Daniel, it talks about only one kingdom, that's the everlasting kingdom. That's the kingdom of YAHAWASHI. And that's what you devils are trying to go against, because you know that you are at the last end of your kingdom that ushers in that everlasting kingdom that's to come. As is written in 2 Ezra 6, 7 on down. About what? That Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So you know the energy that's going on right now is all against you. That's why you're trying to victimize yourself to push and promote this, we're being victimized and look at all these things that they're doing. Nowadays, you can't even say, oh, the Jays run the world.
Yeah, I'm about to say, that was a part of their calculations, is they had to trick the world, deceive the nations, to thinking that they were the people of the Most High, so that the people of the Most High wouldn't know that. Because if we would have known from the beginning that we were the people of the Most High, then we would have been calling on the Lord.
Right.
But look how much the Lord has done since this truth started to bring forth fruit. Look how quickly now this devil is moving, because the Israel has remembered themselves.
Genesis 3 and 5. For Yahweh doeth know that in the day thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Yep, that's what the serpent told Eve. You know, and that's ultimately taking on the ideology of knowing evil, because of the first path, I think it's 2nd Ezra 7th chapter, the former world, the Lord just gave us the good, right? You didn't have to. Everything was good. We already had Adam. You know, he had the immortality. He had the kingdom. He had paradise. Well, all he knew was good. But then when the serpent deceived Eve, beguiled her, and Eve gave that knowledge to her man, Adam. They both now had knowledge of good and evil. But because they were in flesh, that flesh was going to be what? It was going to be subject to sin. It was going to be subject to actually going off, because Adam came from the earth. Adam didn't come from the heaven. That's why it says in 1 Corinthians, the first Adam was earthly, of the earth, but the second Adam is from the Lord above. Because now that flesh, or whatever we want to call it, that YAHAWASHI has, it to going off. Right. It's not
program, it's something different.
Yep.
That's really that.
So Rock 38 and 25. The days of the life of man may be numbered, but the days of Israel are.
Because Israel aren't men in the sense of humans. That's not what the sons of God, really weren't created to be humans, like a regular human. That's why the Lord said, behold, you are gods, all of you are the sons, all of you are the children of the Most High, but you shall die like men. That's not how the Israelites are supposed to be. And that's why even in our lowest state, what do they call it, Jake? Oh, you got your sexual gods. That's how women look at Jake. Yeah. You're like, so you're on a higher, different level when it comes to even sex. Yeah. Or like your athletic abilities. Oh, you've been touched by the hand of God. That's what they said about Saquon. That's why they drafted him so high, because our GM, he was a rat. And he was like, and we didn't need a running back. We needed a damn quarterback. But it was like, I can't pass up on him because he's touched by the hand of God. There you go. And this is our low level of state. You think, and this is, like I said before, with Esau, what he did with not having us being, knowing that we were Israelites, because when you now have that knowledge, like we're regular, of course, we don't have super knowledge of this world, but like even the stuff we're talking about right now, we didn't learn this somewhere like in the high Cambridge. But what we're talking about is high level like information. So where an average person, they were like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? But I bet you if there was elites here or these fucking mathematicians, they would be like, oh, yo, that's kind of, you're onto something.
Yeah.
You're onto something with that.
And I got another one to kind of show the opposite side of what we just read. Daniel 5:25, and this is the writing that was written, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. So going back to, the ancient Babylonian kingdom, there was a time where it was numbered and it was finished. So every other heathen rulership has had a certain time to reign, and then it was over. And you could compare this to now because this kingdom is numbered and finished, and we're seeing all of the signs of it, which is like people say the proverbial writing on the wall, just like this verse. And it says, Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians, which was back then, that was history that actually happened. But now you have, it's a foreshadowing of the Medes and the Persians in modern times, which is Russia and Iran. That's going to be dividing up and destroying your kingdom because the Lord is going to use those other nations to destroy the modern Babylon, right? And it says, I skipped 27, Slaki. It says, Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and are found wanting. You see? Yeah, so you weighed in the balance, and what does balance represent? Judgment. Found wanting, mean you what? You got caught lacking. Okay? Your kingdom is numbered and finished. So you want to talk about some numbers? That's some numbers for your ass, man. All right, and the Lord has numbered it. You have a certain time to reign. That's why it says, Jerusalem shall be trodden down to the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So there was a time where you were going to have the rulership, the reign, and then it was going to be it. You got your little short-lived bullshit, and now it's time for the sons of God to have it back. All right, the kingdom of Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi to be established. All right, and the Lord Yahawashi and his joint heirs is going to show you how it's done. All right, and righteousness, man. That's going to be the kingdom that's going to be talked about and going to be praised for eternity. Okay, Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi's kingdom. All right, not this little vain bullshit. This is all going to be looked at as a shameful instance, man. A shameful time, a short-lived time where wickedness got to reign, and to show us how to never ever do it ever again.
But real quick though, this is Hebrew chapter 3, verse 6, and it reads, it says, but Yahawashi as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end. And basically what that brother was saying, we're at the end, and what is that confidence? The confidence of the promise to Jacob, the immortality, the eternal kingdom, that the nations under our feet, all of this, the promise that was to Jacob in Genesis is playing out now because we're still in Esau's kingdom, which is also a promise that's in Genesis. So that's playing out. He about to get the fuck up out of here. He about to get dragged out of here. He gonna be put at the bottom. He gonna be the basis of men as he really is. And then it's gonna be it. And there's gonna be no other rulership. There's gonna be no other heathens to rule over us. There's gonna be no more Donald Trumps. It's gonna be no more fucking sparrows. Ain't gonna be no more Syrian kings. There's gonna be no more of that. They're all gonna be slaves under Yahawashi and the Israelites. That's gonna be the kingdom. That's gonna be the new Garden of Eden. Back as in the days of old, but even a little more better.
That's right.
You got it, guys.
No, it's fine. All right. So at this point, I thought, so this is about Isaac Newton, right? But I read somewhere, and I'm just going to have a summary here. But it says Isaac Newton was deeply fascinated and spent years analyzing the book of Daniel with mathematical and scientific work. He believed the book contained secret biblical code that, when decoded, pointed to prophetic timelines and the end of the world, right? Says, and a belief he documented in his numerously published work, Observations upon the Prophecies of Daniel and the Apocalypse of St. John. Because I remember when I was doing my research on the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, I came upon his interpretation. I read it. Yeah, he was on point, right? He talked about how, I think it was off about the Britons, when he was supposed to do the Anglo-Saxon, but the 10 kingdoms of Daniel, he broke all those, and he was like, yo, who his fucking mind? He was like, yo, how come this guy was so extremely, clear? I mean, exactly 10 kingdoms came out of the Eastern Roman Empire. How is that possible? So he did all these things, and then it says mathematical and historical analysis. It says Newton treated biblical prophecies, particularly in Daniel, as a coded system and use mathematics. Okay, just like that. All right, hold on. So it says, he saw the Bible as God's word and believed that understanding prophecy was a way to better understand God's sovereignty and a way to prepare for coming judgment. Now, when you go down to his calculations, it says that Newton used his interpretation of the book of Daniel to connect prophetic timelines with historical event, and he concluded that the end of the world would not occur before 2060 AD. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is he Jake or is he an Edomite? But I'm just saying, you know, like,
I think he might be
Edomite.
But you know, the thing is, he said it was not gonna happen before 2060.
2060 AD. Yeah.
All right, but we're
Yeah, I mean, I guess it will happen.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're in 2023.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
2025. Slide.
2025.
Right? About to be in 2026. Well, these devils about to get 100 or 250 years.
That's sure.
All right, yeah. And then this year they had 150 years for the Navy and so on and so forth. So it's all literally getting into the spirit of war. Which when you go to war, there's gonna be an end of somebody. All right, there's gonna be an end of somebody. That's when the war stops. I beat your ass, I take all your shit, now it's over with. Now you listen to what I gotta say. So they're building it up right now to go to war against each other, but ultimately it's gonna be a war that culminates when the Lord comes back. All right, when YAHAWASHI comes back, that's where the war ends. You see that man who comes in with that he called a man of peace, right? He talking about he making peace, brokering peace. We're about to get to World War III. All this peace talk he talking is all nothing, bro. The apostle Paul said that when they shall say peace and safety, you got the talk of peace abroad, you got the talk of safety at home. What do you think comes next? All right, what do you think comes next, man? Sudden destruction. Sudden destruction. All right, it says what? They shall not escape. Okay, they shall not escape, man.
You want to know something else interesting? Look to Isaac Newton. Because like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's an Amalekite. Because you already find a lot of Edomites with that name Isaac.
Yeah.
That are not Amalekites. But with Albert Einstein, his World War III quote, I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. This statement from guess what year?
Don't say 1948.
1949. It reflects his concern about the destructive potential of nuclear weapons. The idea that a devastating World War III could set humanity back to a primitive state. But once again, it says timing. Einstein made this statement in April of May 1949, shortly after the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb.
Right, after World War II.
So, I mean, you measure the time diligently. Around that time, a lot of stuff was going on. I mean, obviously, we know what happened in 1948, but that whole time frame set a because I think even the clock started around that time as well. The doomsday clock, it started around that same time as well, because they knew once they went into that land, we only got a certain amount of time, numbers, in order to try to get what we trying to establish before the Lord come back.
No, 20 years later.
When the atomic bomb was being developed, upon his recommendation, they had to scale back the destruction. So
Damn.
It shows you that it's going to be a devastating destruction, because like you're talking about this like fucking devastating, and if they had to scale it back, and that was like that many years ago, and they only got better at making it,
that day is great.
Yeah,
After Studio's point, it made me think about, because even with World War II, with the two joints that was dropped, Japan is still inhabitable in wherever that happened. The Lord said that in this time, the land that gets hit with all that judgment is never going to be inhabited again. So, like, you already think about it. The Lord said, I'm going to make it desolate and bare. Before that, all this shit, the business is closed and all, but then the Lord said, I'm going to make this place where it's not going to be inhabited by mankind again, just like before. But before, it had resources and people like could use stuff that was in this land. But this time, it's going to be a desert. That's how much bad judgment got to come to this place of what happened here.
Like you mentioned earlier, the 61 that Moab is talking about, they talking about peace and safety, but then you got these officials on the other side saying, we're talking about war. And the ones that's popping it off, they're saying, listen, we're not going to be the one to fire the first missile, but we're going to fire the second. We're going to fire in it response to make sure there is no second. See, and it's 61, like you said, because they said it's 60 warheads and then one hydrogen bomb. And they said apparently, this is allegedly, they're the only ones that got a hydrogen bomb.
And it can't be intercepted.
Right, and it can't be intercepted. And they're talking about the state of Israel over there.
North Korea has hydrogen bomb too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that behind the scenes, some of them probably still have it. Other nations probably still have it, but they be mass producing shit. So if they're saying they got that, how many of those do they have? And what is really happening behind the scenes for them to be talking this type of talk? But then you ask Trump, like, yeah, it's all good. America's doing better than ever. You know, it's like, but what's really happening? What's really going on? You know? But the everyday eater, the maggots, is eating it up.
It's also, I got you, bro. It's also too because when you talk about with China, what do they need? What do you need to build those missiles? You need the rare earth materials. America doesn't have that. They export all of their materials from other countries. They don't. You can't go into the earth in Babylon in America to get these get the elements you need in order to make these missiles. That's why you have a lot of these countries like a lot of these corporations like Lockheed, whatever. Yeah, they make it, but where are they getting the material to make it from? They got contracts in other countries, and now that you have sides being drawn, and you got China, you got Russia over there with Ukraine. Why do you think Russia, like we said, why do you think Russia is like, yo, we're not stopping this war. We want Ukraine, not because of the people, because of the land.
Right. Stop there.
And what society is going toward, that element is going to be very needful in order for whoever's going to be the next superpower to maintain control.
Hey, the men of dark confederacy,
All they ate that bread.
all they ate that bread because Esau needs these other nations. So they're looking at him, you know, that meme where it's like, you know, I could end this man's whole career right now. That's how they're looking at Esau. They could really do that. Like, listen, we got what it takes. That's why they still doing what they want to do. Like, man, you ain't even scaring us no more.
Right.
Because even with the they talk about the chip shortage, that's because there's certain other countries that have the technology and things to do that. America doesn't have a lot of manufacturing capabilities. So they're relying on those because Esau is so damn greedy, you know, but he never thought about the latter end. You're gonna go up against all these nations in Armageddon, and here it is. Now you need and now you're relying on all them. Now throw tariffs and this, that, but he's in a ball of confusion and a mess right now.
Think about Taiwan. The sea hit shit.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what the ones that makes it mostly, right? Yep. Got it.
I remember Russia has been just for decades, and then, you know, they get attacked, get blown up, whatever, and all they generals and whatever, delete whatever. They're gonna have some shit where it returns back that fire.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So prophecy is going to be fulfilled.
Automatic.
Book of Psalms chapter 2, continuing in verse 3. In the NLT, it says, "Let us break their chains. They cry and free ourselves and from slavery to the Most High."
See, what are the chains that Esau is trying to break from the Most High? It's the bounds that he got. It's the fact that only the Most High can give life. Only the Most High can actually create or bring back life. Life comes from the Most High, but he gave that power to his son. He only gave it to his son. Nobody is. Ecclesiastes, who can retain the spirit in the dead death? Only one man can say that they can do that, and that's YAHAWASHI.
No one can know the day he's gonna die.
But Esau is trying to use technology. Yo, let us break that band from. Let's break off from this. Let's go outside of this parameter of who controls life and death. We want to be able to control life and death.
There's a book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with me." Well, to numbers. "Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." So, go back to what the Zaquan was saying, that Esau, you have a given parameter. It goes into what? Your power. It goes into your time on this earth, as in being empowered. It goes into your ability to go outside, physically outside of the earth, where the Lord has given you dominion over. Those are part of the appointed bounds that you cannot pass. And it also goes into what? Your ability to supersede where you are right now, which is you want to use AI to become a God on this earth. You say, after children of the Most High, I'm not even trying to be on their level. I want to be on the Most High's level. I want to be like the Most High. But have you noticed that? I mean, nobody's ever done it because nobody's ever been that stupid to think this shit. But you're the only one on this earth who says, yo, I want to be like the Most High. Because you got this technology that the Most High gave you.
You want to be like the Most High? Well, you got to defeat the Most High. You ever thought about that part? Well, his son is going to come and crush your shit. And then you can sit there and think about how you're going to defeat the Most High himself. When you were in slavery, like it tells you in the book of Psalms, that what we're going to bind your kings and your nobles with fetters of iron. Then you're going to see the realization that you're just a man and nothing but a man. Shit, maybe less than that.
Imagine how small you're gonna feel when you got beef. You got beef with a man. But he said, I'm not even gonna fight you. I'm gonna bring my son to fight you. Like, yo, imagine I got beef, but I bring my son. You bring your son, like, yo, beat him up, yo. He just thrashes me. He just thrashes me. He said, I try to know why I'm pressed alone. Like, your son, this my little homie.
Remember how like David called the I don't know if it's he was younger. How David called the old boy to was it the
Goliath?
No, not Goliath. Not David.
Oh, you talking about the dude that killed Saul? And he said, like, he said, were you not afraid to touch the Lord's anointed?
It wasn't Hagar. Not Hagar.
It was an Amalekite.
Some Amalekite.
It was an Amalekite.
It was a younger guy.
He wasn't
He wasn't there. He was a younger dude, right?
Amalekite.
No, the other he had killed.
Oh yeah, he said he commanded one of the young.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say the name. He said he commanded one of the young men.
I know he said young.
To lay it to fall upon him with the sword.
Took him out. So pretty much same thing, but this time, like this son of the Most High is the King of Kings. He's the Lord of Lords. He is the beginning and the end. So basically, he is that appointed time, the appointed bounds that you cannot pass. Because as long as he's there, you can't go nowhere but where you at. All right, and your lot as Esau, you Edomites. I'm talking about you, Alex Carps of the world. I'm talking about you. What's the other guy?
Yeah, the new nigga.
The new nigga. There's a
the
whole
big
bunch
old
of
nigga. Liam.
Rupert Murdoch, you there? But this guy, Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller. Okay. Jonathan Greenblatt, you're on the list. Peter Thiel, you're on the list.
What's the other dude with the bank?
Jamie Dimon?
Nah, the other guy. Damn, we were just talking about him. He's like the new person that he's been on the forefront a lot more, but he's old as hell. Well, like
2025.
Yeah, he's been buying shit.
Not Blackstone.
Not him.
Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison.
Yeah.
You on the list, bitch. What's his name? The other guy, Larry Fink. You also on the list.
Yeah. Larry Fink.
Right? Now remember, these are just names. These are public names. But it goes even further than that. We go all the way back to the Rothschilds. We always used to bring out the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPont. Modern day them, the Gettys. These are these modern day Rothschilds. Them. Like they play the same roles. Exactly. The descendants of them. Klaus Schwab and them. All right. Bill Gates. All these niggas, man. Remember, you said they're Bezos. You devils got us on the red list for teaching the Bible. By Mark Zuckerberg. Okay.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Right? What's the other guy? Sam Altman. All you devils, man, because
Pete Hegseth.
Pete Hegseth. Yeah, he's a low level.
Yeah, that nigga's low level. Big of juice head, but not even big.
He told that other devil, yo, you should try doing a push-up, nigga.
He might be worse than Biden's son. Or all that white stuff that they be snorting. But remember, all these people are just names that we give you because these are the people when the Apostle John talks about the many antichrists, these niggas are part of that club. These niggas is part of bringing about that antichrist beast system. These niggas is behind that shit. So when we bring out these names, don't sit around and fall for the tricks that these guys are hate group. No, we are a truth-based. We tell you the truth, what it is. We're not assigned to no political, Trump did this or Biden. No, we don't play all that shit. All right, the word of the Lord. Remember, we always say this, that the world is that you dance to the tune of prophecy. Everyone is subject to prophecy. In other words,
go ahead, you got it. I was gonna say when you said hate and you mentioned truth. At the end of the day, hate is almost like a perception because somebody perceives
ideology.
Yeah, ideology. Because you perceive the truth as hate, we perceive it as love, right? So if you really come down to it, hate, truth is hate and love agnostic, right? It's just what it is, right? You can tell somebody the facts, and they may say no, you're preaching hate, but it's just the truth, right?
Hey, and talking about perception, like if you're standing on the side that's meant to be destroyed, then you have a different perspective from someone who's on the side to be delivered. Right. So if the ones that are meant to be delivered are looking at it and loving it, and you're hating it, you got a problem. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So
I got a quick precept for that. 2 Corinthians 2 verse 20. 2 Corinthians 2 verse 15. For we are unto the Most High a sweet savor of a Mashiach in them that are saved and in them that perish. To the one, we are the savor of death unto death, and to the other, the savor of life unto life. Who is sufficient for these things? Reading that in NLT, it says, our lives are a Hamashiach-like fragrance rising up to the Most High. But this fragrance is perceived differently by those who are being saved and by those who are perishing. To those who are perishing, we are a dreadful smell of death and doom. But to those who are being saved, we are a life-giving perfume. Who is adequate for such a task as this? Only the prophets. Only the prophets, only the men of the Lord can be both. That's why the Lord, and that's the spirit that really we're coming in the spirit of YAHAWASHI. Because when YAHAWASHI was on the scene, what did when he went to the temple with his mom, what was it, the Simon, right? He said what? He prophesied, said that what? This man shall be the rising and falling of many in Israel. So YAHAWASHI, that's why he is the rock of our salvation, but he also is the stone of stumbling. Like he both. You on both sides. That is what a king of king is. Where I got both sides of this on lock. You devils, you can't do both.
All right. Hey, if I may add real quick, the thought came to mind. If you have a cornerstone, you can use it to build the strongest house possible with that chief cornerstone, with that real strong cornerstone, or that cornerstone could crush somebody to death. Yep. So either way it goes, it's going to accomplish its purpose that it's meant to do.
14. You got it. But we were talking about the numbers. I want to get this second Ezra 4 verse start at second Ezra 4 verse, we start at 34. It says, and he answered me and saying, do not thou hasten above the most highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded. Because even us, the Lord created our brain to where like you can't go past a certain point. Right. Tried it. You can't go. You can't go past a certain point, man. You know, you're literally like your brain. You might feel it get a little hot. Right. Your computer overheating. Using too much computer power. Like the fan not working enough right here.
Poor Erico.
Access denied.
So in the movies where you got the smoke coming up from your head. Yeah. You see? But that's why we always, it's the most that's diabolical. It's egregious. But you can't, that's why we always go based off of the will of the Lord, man. And that's really humbling. When you can't hasten, when you know that you can't go above the Most High, you only can be just subject unto it. And that's what the Lord is looking for. You got to come to that realization, like, it ain't up to me, Lord. It's all your will. But see, Esau, he won't do that. That's how he told Cain, well, what y'all do as well, will thou not be accepted? What was doing well? Following the will of the Lord. Obedience. It's that simple. It's that simple, but he like, no, I want to do it my way. He was made for obedience. He's striving against his maker. It says his wisdom has perverted him. It says, verse 35, do not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? It says, because when you think about it, that's all what we're doing is for. Because the Lord promised that, Paul said it, the 12 tribes instantly serving the Most High day and night for the hope to come. We actually believe on the word of the Lord, man. Nobody else believes on that word. Right. Look at these so-called, they're trying to bring back Christianity into politics. But how are you talking about the Bible and you're still talking about America thriving and being like, it makes no sense. Yep. Why are you never talking about, we just need the kingdom of God on earth. We want Jesus to come back and rule. You're not talking about that at all. Them niggas over there in the land, they're not talking about Hashem bringing a Messiah and ruling. Bibi said that, we gonna create the blessing with the help of America. Right. And Trump is their Messiah. And Trump is their Messiah. Shit. So this is how you know. That's why the Lord said, what does thou have to do with my instructions? So like it with my covenant, seeing that thou hatest instruction. It goes all the way back to Cain. Seeing as thou hatest instructions, you're never going to get down with the program of the Lord. Why are you using the Bible?
No, I was going to the point of brother. Hold on, no. I was going to say, because you brought a good point about the Trump. Who said Trump being a Messiah? Small ass?
Yeah.
That was the case. Y'all don't follow instructions, but y'all would follow instructions because Trump is one of y'all. Because the Lord said that Israel will put a king above them that's not their own nation. That's a fellow white man. So, like, you have a fellow white man that you're saying is your Messiah or whatever, or your king. Because BB and Trump are Edomites. So what the fuck are you talking about? Y'all not them. And how the fuck is Babylon? How is America going to bring the blessing? How is Babylon's judgment is to be destroyed? And you're supposed to be oppressed by Babylon. This said my bad. The children of Israel were to be oppressed by Babylon and get redeemed out of Babylon. You get all the help from Babylon.
You're oppressing Babylon.
Yeah, shit. Yeah.
But where them Germans at, bro? They can't even get hold of them. They're chilling over there. So
Germans support them.
They're getting mad money from them, yo.
The Germans are afraid of these Jays that are supposed to be them being oppressed. Fuck out of here. Hey, you guys?
I got a little bit more on this. Verse 36. And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said,
That's
even
interesting. Gave them answer. Oh, probably Ezra's question.
yeah.
I thought you know all the others that hoped in that like manner.
Oh no, he did. It was them.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he said, did not the souls also of the righteous ask the questions of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? Unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer.
Where he at? He asked the same thing. That's a message.
Well, hey, you know, it might be in the spirit world too.
Yeah.
You know, because they tell you Revelation the 6th chapter, those that get beheaded, they're still talking. So how are they talking?
Asking the Lord how long.
How long?
Abel.
Yep.
The righteous blood crieth out. From the
And that's probably the only ones that actually get in the spirit world. I'm just, hypothetically, those are the ones that get that audience with the Lord in the spirit world, because that's righteous blood in there.
Life, right?
It said,
Give them answer.
it says, gave them answer, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he had weighed the world in the balance. So Ezra told them, Uriel told them that you gotta go back on the earth. You gotta fulfill your seeds, man. Because there's a regeneration process. It's not YAHAWASHI said that. Ye that follow me in the regeneration. When was that? We was talking about that earlier this week. When you looking at, I may mention it to brothers as well, but when you look at the history of the scriptures and the timeline of everything that we're reading was from the first church.
Oh, okay.
Everything that we read is from the first church. Up until John, but John was the first generation or the same generation of YAHAWASHI. Everything else in history about the believers, we don't really have that information until now. Now everything is being recorded again. So from 70 AD up until now, up until 1970, 69, 70, there was no information about what happened? About the truth. But the Lord spoke. And now as we read it, it's as if the Lord is speaking to those same people that we're reading. It's like he's speaking to us again. That's why he had the men of the Lord write those things back then. It was for us right now. That's why he said, ye that follow me in the regeneration. What did he tell Daniel? Stand out in our light at the latter end.
I shall raise them up again.
I shall raise them up again at the last day. This is the time. And that's why this devil sees this. Because there was never, you had, after 70 AD, right? You still had Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, 100 AD. But there was no actual, written records, or we don't have it. It didn't make it until now, to where it's like prophecies. And the last prophecies that we have of the that are recorded is John the Revelator.
Right.
And what was he recording? What was he prophesying? What was the vision about this time right now?
Right.
So it would make sense that those men that the Lord was talking about was going to come back on the scene this time right now, to break down all of those prophecies.
Hey, I said that Derek said he's gonna come back. Yeah, he said he's gonna follow me in the regeneration. Now, like you said, after the fathers fell asleep, right? there was no talk of Yahawashi as Yahawashi up until this time, right? And so the regeneration in which you would even be able to follow Yahawashi would have to be now, because Yahawashi wasn't preached when we fell away, right? We were into the at best Jesus, so we didn't have the truth of the actual Yahawashi himself up until that cry was made, which is now, and then the virgins woke back up again.
Oh, and he's made that cry at midnight, right? The doomsday clock is always talking about what? Midnight.
That's your ass.
Yahawashi is coming when? The Mr. World War III. When the doomsday clock.
Oh yeah, man. When that clock hit 12.
Hey, what you don't sleep?
So what happened?
What is said? Make sure you watch and not sleep.
Oh yeah. Yep. Keep that oil. Reading verse 37. By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and doeth not move nor stir them until said measure is fulfilled. Everything is a math, man. Everything is math. The Lord already had this equation mapped out. This is an equation, going back to Project Looking Glass, this is an equation that Esau cannot he can't solve.
Right.
He can't solve this equation with all of his computing power. You can't solve this equation. You don't got the formula. You don't got the formula. Because you know where the formula comes from? It's faith. That's it.
Revelations 9 and 15 says, and the 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, or to slay the third part of men. Right? Just to back up your precept that the Lord has everything set up, and there's nothing the devil really can do offset that. God.
Yes. So that's why he said that he set the end from the beginning. So that means that it goes through the process of time, and time is numbers. Years, centuries, decades, events, how many events, when you say, until this and that happens, and then 3.5 years, and then 7 years, and then 10, he's always dealing with numbers, and it's always on his time. Even the apostle Peter said that a day to the Lord is 1,000 years to us, and 1,000 years to us is a day to the Lord. That's all going to numbers and time, and he doth not move them nor steer them. Meaning, however it's set up, that's how it's going to play out. In other words, when the time comes, this happens. Rebecca 2 says that. You wait for the appointed time once again. You see, so when it happens, Esau, there's nothing we can do about it. There was an appointed time for us to go into slavery. There's nothing we can do about it. We're the sons of the Most High. You don't think we were crying to the Lord? Look at what happened with the Babylonians. The women, the children, everyone crying and weeping. Antiochus Epiphanes, there's times when we cried to the Lord and he was to get us out of it. But when the appointed time for slavery came, there was no cry that he heard. We all had to go through that. So when the time comes when we get out of it, we're going to be praising and rejoicing the Lord, right? You see, and there'll be none left back if you're of the elect. But if you're an Edomite, well, the only place you're going to end up in is what? If you're here on this land, you get destroyed. And then in your next incarnation, which is in the next process of time for you, you come back as a slave, all right, as a hardcore slave for the children of Israel, the ones that you mistreated on this side. And you want to what? You want to use your rhetoric, Stephen Miller, right? This red dragon we have awoken. Bring your red dragon shit over here, man, and see what the Lord is going to do to you. All right?
I have precepts to add to you. Jeremiah 33 and 22. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the 2 families which Yahweh have chosen, he have even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith the Lord, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, and that's all math too, how them ordinances move and how it's all, the moon and the stars and everything, the sun. All right, the Lord gave you impossible tasks to do. Measure the sands of the sea. For all of the wisdom that Esau has on the left hand, can he measure the sands of the sea?
He said you can number the heavens above.
Yeah.
You can measure the
and that keeps going. And let's say you measure it today, it keeps expanding. Because it's infinite, like YAHAWASHI. So you can measure it. So the Lord's giving you these impossible tasks. That's why you got fumes coming out your fucking ears, man.
But the Lord said He knows the stars by name. By name.
The hairs on your head. And in the book of Job, there's mentioning just a couple, and brothers marvel at that. Deities, whoa, Arcturus, whoa. But we just know so little. But we okay with that. Like we read in Psalms earlier, David said, I can't even number the works that the Lord did. I'm just going to accept that. That the Lord is pleased with. Instead of you trying to be all big and high and mighty and trying to be like the Most High. Wrong. And the men that are humble to acknowledge that the Lord got it. He's over us. He's more powerful. He's our Lord and Savior. That's the ones that the Lord is actually going to give godlike power to comprehend those things. You see? But it said a couple more. It says, then I read 25 again. Thus saith the Lord, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, which He has, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. But that's the time that we're in. Our captivity is returning. And all these impossible tasks that Esau is losing his mind over, he's burnt out. That's why Stephen Miller's going up there saying, well, Trump, fuck it, man. He got plenary power, which is just basically complete authority, supreme authority, like the supreme leader in North Korea. So they turning this shit into North Korea, basically. And fuck it, we like, go ahead, because he's making prophecy happen, man. You know, but if you looked at the clip where Stephen Miller said that, he said he has plenary power, and then he just paused. Like he had an MK Ultra malfunction. And it was like, Stephen, he just lost. Like, damn, I said it out loud. Fuck. The producer probably cursing him out. You motherfucking idiot. Why did you say that shit?
You got to call that night.
And they said, quick commercial break. Oh, we're back now. Stephen Miller's back. And then he just kind of fixed it up. But they got the clip. See? Everybody's over, man.
You know, and what's interesting about that, how you know it's all bullshit, because he was on CNN. If you know anything about CNN, they try to play it to the left. Yeah. And they always act like they go against him. But when that happened, when he basically had his fraudulent when he had his fraudulent slip, he just stopped talking. And you could tell that he wasn't disconnected. But when they when they came back, they said, oh, we had technical issues. And when they went back, started up so when you actually try to find that clip, they actually CNN, the company, they took that part of the clip off. And when they came back, they just restarted the interview as if that never happened. And then the anchor, he never even asked him about it. So what did you mean by plenary authority? Nothing. So if CNN is supposed to be on the left and you're supposed to be going against the Republic, why didn't you? That was ammo right there. The open shot was mad ammo right there.
Wide open shot, rib cage. You like, just can't do it. Like,
For that shot too.
yeah, you like, Paul, like I got it opening right there. Like, nah. All of a sudden, your arm start working, right, nigga?
But that goes to show you the two horns like a lamp. That's all I'm thinking. It's the same thing. Because we always say, who controls all of the media? Right. It's the left and it's both sides, man. Because that's his way of trying to control the narrative and control the numbers. We gotta control both sides in order to predict a certain outcome. We can't just leave anything up to probability. None of that could be left up to a chance. Can't be left up a chance. And that's why what we're doing right here is so dangerous to them. Because they can't control this part of the narrative. Right. And now social media has become the #1 resource of information. So the enchantment, right, of the media is not working anymore. Right? We always talk about medium, right? The enchanters, that part is not, so everybody used to go get the information in news. Well, I didn't hear that on the news. So just because you didn't hear it on the news, that means it didn't exist. Right. But now people are going to what you're seeing happening right now, and us on the highways and byways. This is how the truth got spread. It wasn't like we was on Fox News, it was on CNN. The truth went out the four corners of the earth, what they call grassrooted. It sprung up, literally grassroots, out of the earth. From the mud. From the dust. Shake off the dust. Right. 3 seconds.
That's Isaiah 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee.
Yep. And it said your wisdom and your knowledge perverted you. And you was doing all of your wickedness in the dark, man. Right? And it says in Psalm 64 that they commune privily of laying snares and said, who shall see us?
And thou hast said,
Quite literally, their knowledge, their wisdom and knowledge has to be the innovation of AI. Right? We went into the abominable intelligence. And when you actually, it's crazy, when you go into that word AI or the acronym, before it became what it is today, back then, I think it was back before the
Here we go.
it says artificial insemination. And that's what the serpent is trying to do. He's trying to sow his seed, all right, within the woman. Because when you look at who he's demonizing in the media, like the Zaquan said, their mainstream media, it's who? Blacks, they call it black and brown. That's so crazy, bro. You devils are so disrespectful. They call it black and brown people, man. What the fuck is that? Black and brown people? After all this shit we've been through.
I love black people.
Right.
I love
What is that? What is that?
beautiful black people.
What is that? You see what I'm saying? But that artificial intelligence has become, it went from artificial insemination to artificial intelligence, which stands for AI. Now, their wisdom and knowledge has perverted them because they use them from that left-hand side. When you actually go into that word algorithm, which is algorithmic language, we're going into it, it literally goes into the word demon god or god demon, which is al-Ghul in the Muslim language. I forget exactly what language it is.
The Arabic, I think.
Arabic, yeah. Arabic. Right? In Arabic, it's called al-Ghul. A-L.
Look at the root word of algorithm.
Yeah.
That's interesting because that villain on Batman, his name is Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, also in MAGA, that's MAGA means basically a female enchanter, which is female witch. In America is the feminized version, the whore, the daughter of Babylon. So you pushing that MAGA spirit, you got all the what? It's enchanting. It's an enchantment.
Lady Liberty,
Calvin Klein's wife.
the whole concept. What's that?
I was lucky. I was talking about Captain Kirk's wife. The women.
And you laughing and you gotta now she's on his show.
Yeah,
She's running his show now.
she run the thing.
Yeah.
She got control
Damn
of the thing.
demon, but where the fuck did she come from? Like all these other people in the so-called crap, where the fuck did they come from? Pam Bondi, where the fuck did you come from? All these people that just running their mouth, where did you niggas come from?
Her dad is actually was friends with Trump. Actually,
Bondi? Bondi?
No, Captain Kirk's wife.
Oh yeah.
Her dad is actually close friends with Trump.
Look at that. Look at that.
So it's like a family.
They're all
thing.
connected.
Yeah.
Always connected.
Apparently, he was tied in with Israel and like weapons or some shit, right?
See? And
So they use that nick. They use Captain Kirk for as a sacrifice.
there you go. To unite this. That's why it says his show was what? Turning Point USA. All this shit was a turning point. Right after this shit, this nigga, Stephen Miller, gonna talk about Red Dragon has been a movement and all this extra shit. That's what I'm talking about,
He's
bro.
the most joyful widow I've ever seen in my life.
It's happy as hell. It's enchantments, bro. It goes back to the old ancient ways of doing things, which is all witchcraft and all that. Tapping into which left hand side. That's what the brother's going into.
Yep. Psalm Isaiah 47:10. It hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off.
Right. When you go down to the book of Job, it tells you that, right? That when he's about to fill his belly, the wrath of the Most High is going to come upon him. All right. So from the time the people revolt to the time you try to press on them to bring about your newer order, but it just back and forth on to World War III. You're literally seeing the decline and the downfall of your power system, man. It doesn't get better. Whatever you devils be going into, it doesn't get better. You're not gonna get your newer order how you imagine it. You're not gonna hide underneath the bunker and then you just drinking wine and then life is just getting better. You running shit through AI. That's not gonna happen, nigga. That's not gonna happen. All right. As long as the Lord is alive, you're not gonna get that shit, bro. And your end is fast approaching. We're reading it. All right. Go ahead, bro.
And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries. wherein thou hast labored from thy youth.
Right. So even going back to the founding fathers, they built America based on Freemasonic principles. Right? You look at the so-called the White House and the whole what's that place
The
called?
National Mall.
Yeah, all that shit. The National
DC.
Monument, all that. When you actually look at it, it's all it's called Satan's sigil.
It's all
Look up-
numbered.
It's all numerology, exactly. It's all numbered. Okay, shapes and signs and all that. When you look at it from a bird's eye view, you go type in Satan's sigil and type in damn, what's that place? I think it's the White House, but the whole land,
No, the Capitol
the
building.
Capitol building.
It's
Yes,
in the middle.
it's in the middle of it.
Washington Monument
Yes.
is like 666. One of them is like tied with 666.
Yeah, that's the one. It's like when you look at it from
Bird's eye.
yeah, exactly, from on the ground all the way to the top is I think 666 feet tall. All right, they go into all that. Then it's called Capitol Hill. Going back to Capitol Line Hill, right back in Rome. Right.
It's a shape like an owl.
Owl, exactly. Yeah.
All of the streets and
The streets,
everything is set up.
everything,
It's shaped like an owl.
There you go. Right. So all this shit that's going on is them going back to their youth. The inception of America was built on Freemasonic principles. That's anti-Messiah principles. But yet they say, oh, it's on the Bible. This nigga Trump swore, you forgot he put his hand on the Bible? When have you ever seen that? Where have you ever seen that? That was the first time I seen that. I said, oh yeah, it's over. It's over. And I was telling my brother, I said, I told my mom, I said, this guy's going to turn into a demon nobody's ever seen before. That's the cool Lord.
Yeah.
So see, he said that he converted to be one of the amulets like years before anybody knew. And all of a sudden, when he became president, he showed it.
Because he ran on evangelical votes. All the evangelicals and whatever. And KKK niggas was KKK grandmasters was fucking, endorsing him. And people were like, oh, you see KKK is endorsing this guy. He's a racist. Like, that was back in his first term. But it wasn't time yet. Now is the time, man. You see things moving. He hasn't even been here a year. And look what he's done. Talking about he broke a piece. Fuck out of here, man.
I found out that Stephen Miller, he's an Amalekite.
Yeah, he is.
Wow. And he is the Trump speeches.
Trump speeches and the immigration.
Connected was, remember his speech, he said that our lineage goes back to what? Greece and Rome.
Oh.
But you're Amalekite.
Right.
The Romans oppressed the Jews. So that right there, you just showed your hand.
I thought you were Jacob.
Yeah. How can you be the Greeks, the Romans, and Israel?
Exactly.
The last samurai.
Word. 'Cause what did Pontius Pilate say? He said these are things of the Israelite matter.
Yep.
Yeah, back in Isaiah 47 and 12, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth.
You see, that's why the scripture says that your own tongue is going to fall upon you. You telling too many lies, and that shit is you getting caught up in it. That's what they say about lies. That you end up having to tell too many that you can't keep up with it.
People with one lie, you got to keep
Yeah,
telling them.
you gotta remember all your other lies and how they all connect. And now that's why you're in a fucked up situation, because you just saying things, brother. You can fix it like him. Other sheep that are watching, that don't line up. And now, not only are we seeing it, now we're exposing it. That's why it says that in the end, the wicked shall be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. How are we doing that? How's the Lord doing that? Through us using what? The Holy Spirit. The Rakah Quadash, the Holy Spirit. You see, that's why, and it said what? The Holy Spirit is the spirit of truth. This is all you need. All you need is the truth. And the truth is destroying your whole shit, man. It's literally destroying your whole entire program.
That's why it's called a web of lies.
Yep.
Says Portland Antifa declares war on U.S. military, calls for mass laser attack on helicopters. October 11th. So that's the date. Yeah, they basically calling. They said it says here independent journalist Andy NGO.
NGO? Yo, I don't know if y'all seen the video,
Nah.
but I did a video because a person left the round table. It's like because he's Asian, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the person, remember they did the round table with those independent journalists? He just did that. Trump just did a roundtable with the independent journalists a couple days ago. So none of those people that were there are actually connected to actual mainstream media, right? So they're all like independent journalists, and a lot of them were going basically undercover into Antifa. They were basically following them, like basically doing their own thing, trying to document what's going on with Antifa. So all of them, they were basically
Like
there.
Civil War.
Huh?
Like in Civil War.
Yeah, yep. So all of them basically, so like all of them was basically saying how like, yo, we're so glad that you're doing this because we've seen the evils of Antifa and how like, you know, how it's very detrimental to society, X, Y, and Z. He was there. That dude was there. Now, you can read, I'm just want to read something real quick. Somebody left a comment on my, on one of my videos because I had said how what he just said, what Trump just did was a precedent. He set a precedent to now have individual journalists be basically get a platform. That's what vocab is. Vocab is gathering information to be set up as an independent journalist on this truth. So when Trump now basically is using Antifa as the basically the door to start targeting ideologies that they deem that is against the truth. I mean, not against the truth, against them. They want to lump this right in with it. And they're gonna have independent journalists that are like got information that has been tracking and following the Hebrew Israelites. You know, these people are also a danger. You know, they're out on the streets. The things that have you ever heard the things that they actually talk about? It's very anti-S, it's very anti-American, it's very anti-radical, it's extreme. They already labeled us that. Oh, they gonna go to the IDL, they're gonna go to the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're gonna go all of these things. Like, well, you know what? Well, we gotta take care of them too. And then what Trump said about Antifa, somebody asked him, he's like, are you gonna, I know you made it a DT organization, but are you gonna make it a foreign terrorist thing as well? He's like, foreign, he's like, you know what? I think we could do that, right? Because they're not only just in America, right? They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And if you got a foreign team group in your country, then you can actually ignite insurrection act and martial law, because now you're saying there's an actual cell, an invasion of an of a foreign team in your country. Now, is not this truth going throughout the four corners? And are we not preaching the same thing about YAHAWASHI? So you got people in Babylon that are saying the same thing that's in London. So they're gonna say, well, that's the same ideology. Well, that's a foreign, we got invaded by a foreign T organization. And that guy, Salakia, got a little excited.
Would it still be that if it considered if it started in America because the truth started?
Well, that's what they say about the Antifa too. But because you got quote unquote cells in other countries and they all have the same ideology, you can label it a foreign, international, an international organization. So therefore, it's a foreign T organization. And he said he's going to label. Damn.
And they're part of Project Megiddo.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they could with what you mentioned with vocab, similar to what they did. What happened during was it Cyrus's time, where he had them check the records to see if indeed it was written in the records about Mordecai or about what sorry, it was during Darius's time. They checked the records to see if Cyrus really gave that decree. Once they start bringing up the Israelite stuff with vocab, they could go and check because they have us in Project Megiddo. And the FBI does have the DHI on their documents. So by bringing this out, they can go and say, oh, so he can say, oh, well, if they were already put on the watches by the FBI, then well, most definitely they're a T, you got to watch them.
Remember also with the whole Captain Kirk shit, people were losing their jobs, getting fired because they were basically saying things like he was an evil person, like, or he was doing this, basically just all the things that they were saying. So all of this information that they got, and we're coming out and we're proclaiming that you are the Edomites. They're going to go check the Edomites. They're hated by God. The Edomites, the Lord said that they're going to be destroyed, and you're saying that about us. That's hate speech.
And along the way.
And because you can't prove that we're the Edomites, you actually have no proof. So that's an ideology that you have.
Right. Oh, exactly. And they'll say white. That's what that's the first thing they'll go to. They'll make a connection and then they'll run with the white. Which also they're going to be demonizing the Bible as well. They show you movies all the time that the Bible is becoming illegal in the UK and shit. The Bible is illegal. Anyone caught reading or saying anything from the Bible, you're going to face some time or possibly death. Yeah. Well, it does say they have so many laws they can't even keep track of it. So they can just
go in there, pick up something, and you stole it. You pick up something. Yeah,
What's
that's your file. That's it.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. So this guy, so it's, the brother left a comment on one of my videos. It said, "Shalom, elder. At least one of the guys at the round table, Andy NGO, know knows about the Israelites and has posted about them multiple times, including a post in the aftermath of the 2019 Jersey shooting, where he talked about the person personally meeting the Israelites in Seattle. In that post, he also accused the Israelites of being, quote, aggressive, i.e., violent. For all of his intents and purposes, before on his X account, his handle on X is Mr. No, Mr. Andy No. If in the future a roundtable at the White House where the Israelites are being discussed, I won't be surprised if he, as well as Vocab, Haman Malone, are both at such a roundtable."
Oh, makes sense. That's the conspiring. That's the conspiring. I was gonna say but hold up. If you saying that we'll be an age group, right? If we're an age group, all we're talking about is first off truth, and we're talking about what you did to prove your hate towards us. How you brought us over here. Forget saying you Esau, did not the so-called white man bring the so-called black people over in slavery?
But that's why he's talking about the whole thing with the Smithsonian. You focusing too much on the negative about what happened. There's also some positive. There's actually discourses on mainstream media where they have that, where you have people saying, well, what do they call it, the white fragility, or I forgot what that shit's called, where it's basically white guilt. Yeah. They're basically trying to explain away. They're trying to explain away basically white people shouldn't feel guilty about their past because there was also benefits of what happened to what we did.
But then, but the truth always shall prevail. Because in this case, we could flip that again. But that's the thing. But we could flip that to the small heads. Then why the fuck is y'all talking so much about what they went through or supposedly went through? We didn't do that. Hold up. Because you saying that just made me think about then you can flip that always to M like in the small heads. You said, well, anti-S. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But that's all hypocrisy of Esau. Right. You saying that, we don't want to focus too much on what you did on this soil. This is what you did on this soil, not nobody else's soil, not millions of years ago. This was a couple hundred years ago, what your ancestors did to our ancestors on this soil. That's what we're talking about. Talk about that first, and then we can talk about the other stuff. If you don't want to talk about that, you trying to wave out the history, but then that goes to show that you a devil. And that's why the Lord is bringing your kingdom. That's why he's bringing America down. And there's a pot calling the kettle black. Yeah, he did.
I remember in school they used to talk a lot about the German propaganda to try to hide the Holocaust, And they used to talk about it. You're wicked. They was trying to hide what they did to Amalek and this, that. You guys are doing the same thing.
Yeah. He's doing the same thing.
Yeah, but he says he's a hypocrite, And if we're saying he's an Edomite, he got to see what Edomite does. So that when we say he has to be yeah.
Are not my brother's keeper?
I got a little more on that. So,
the Antifa war declaration joint. It says here the radical Antifa militants infesting Portland have issued a great. That's crazy.
Well, the verbiage they use is purposeful.
Yo, hell yeah.
So it's called dehumanization, right? We make you seem like an animal. He's vermin and these creatures and all this, the violent criminals. These are dehumanization words because when you think of those words, you don't associate it to somebody you want to care about. Right. It's like, these are criminals and these get up out of here. They're criminals. What they're going to do here? And they show you the violent parts that they create. Antifa and all this is all man-made. It's all inside stuff. CIA is behind all this shit. All right. You can't prove it per se, but they're doing this shit. Right. It's the same pattern. That's how you know they're doing it. Okay.
For the narrative.
Boom. Because all of a sudden, Trump sends these niggas over there to Portland, which we said, because years ago, Portland had some shit going on over there. Mm-hmm. This Portland shit, because that could be the place that sparks the fire. Out west, close to Alaska, Alaska Fairbanks, people can't, right? But again, going back to what I was thinking, right, dehumanization. So once they're done with the dehumanization through the media, that's what through the dehumanization, once these people are the labels, that those crazy labels, anti this and this and that. That's how they're gonna come after. But Trump is setting the precedent for that. You're gonna start seeing them arresting mayors, governors, all that shit to set the tone for how they're gonna be coming after the people. It's not gonna be just random people. It says, the city shall be troubled and men shall be afraid. The cities is talking about you take cities, man. Because Trump said it. He said, we're gonna come after you democratic cities. That's where you takes are at. The blue states. So
oh, my bad, bro. And when you think about if they're going to dehumanize these people right now, and we already know who they really want to come after, how bad do you think they're going to really dehumanize us when it comes to them being looked at it being justifiable to actually rounding us up? Because when you hear about what we actually speak, like from an outside person looking in, what we're saying does sound crazy.
Right.
Like it sounds like, yo, these people are like people say, like, have you ever heard some of the things that they said? Like nobody talks about a destruction of a whole entire country, like how we're talking about it. Nobody talks about, oh, the scriptures say that hey, you're going into captivity. We're talking about things that it would sound like to them as we read, that's death, that's doom and death. So that's why when they actually now bring that, when they bring the persecution and dehumanization, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be bad. That's why the Lord said, "You should be hated for all men for my name's sake." The Lord wasn't exaggerating. He wasn't. Oh, that's not an exaggeration. To the point where that with the AI too, using that as well for deep fakes and making it seem like brother said or did something, they're going to use all of their arsenal at their disposal, and it's only going to be based off of your actual understanding, faith, and truth in the truth of YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI that you're going to be able to stand in that time. Because you're going to have, the Lord talked about, you're going to have your parents betray you. They said your brother shall deliver another brother up to be killed. You're going to have your friends that you know, the so-called and the friends of so-called friends of the world. You know what? I kind of see.
over 30 days. Yep,
It started at 18%.
Yep.
That was the probability. The numbers. Huh? It started at when it first dated, it said there's probably 18% chance that it will be 30 days plus.
Oh.
But now it says expected. So that means that it's higher than 50% chance. Higher than 50% chance.
a whole month.
But what did Trump say? Oh, we got this gold. We have this not go. He didn't say go, but we have this unprecedented opportunity to use the shutdown.
Yep.
And then who did he introduce now during the shutdown? The director of the Project 2025.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Now he's using that. But remember, in his campaign, he said he didn't know nothing about 2025. I showed you the other day. When you seen that, when you seen the clip, he said, they're trying to link me to 2025 project. I don't know what 25 is. He was like, I heard some things in there. There's some really put on the right side. But that's a person that you now got in control of all these programs that you about to shut down. He said there's some extreme taste in there. There's some extreme. It's going, and he said in the video yesterday, he said, it's going to be shut down. It's going to be painful. Not right now, but it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. But they're going like the Democrats. They want to get a taste of it. When they say Democrats, it's talking about you niggas. Yes, you've been aligned with woke. You've been aligned with leftists. You've been aligned with the DEI. You've been aligned with fucking ubiquitous. Everything, man.
Love to have it so.
What did Stephen Miller say? You cannot threaten us. Answer for the righteous.
So back on here, it says the radical Antifa militants infesting Portland have issued a brazen call to arms. A coordinated patrolling the skies over the city's immigration and customs enforcement facility. Independent journalist Andy No reported the blog's announcement and said organizers urged participants to converge at different vantage points across the city and unleash your beam at the cop copter. So that's what they're going for.
You gonna us? It ain't gonna just be vocab. Vocab doing a lot of legwork.
Yeah.
Who you with? I'm an independent journalist. I don't know about you.
Hey, but they once again they show you that in the movie Civil War, because the perspective we were watching it was from independent I believe they were independent journalists, because eventually, yeah, they were independent journalists. Popping up in there, you had the Civil War going up in there, so it's against the president, you know. So it's really signs that they showed you.
You can use this Portland thing to really bring it that insurrection back.
Well,
What's that happening?
he burned it.
Oh, is it right? Yeah, okay, so we'll do it.
And then boom, next thing you know, yo, they said alligator Alcatraz. I thought this nigga was playing. I said, what kind of shit is this? Yo, he said that shit on a Tuesday, on a Friday, Tuesday. That shit was over in Florida. I said, damn, he didn't waste no time. I said, yo, these niggas not playing. Like, and then normally, like, they'll say that shit like early month, and then maybe mid to late month, you might start seeing them saying, well, maybe in the next 30 days. Nah, this nigga said 3-4 days. We already alligator Alcatraz ready to go. We already got people in there. I said, damn, bro. Now they like based on what we just read. The fact that they got military helicopters patrolling like over ICE facilities, they're talking about fencing it and everything. It's literally like a prison, you know, but for non-traditional prison system, you know. So you can't break in, you can't break out. This is gonna be whenever you see them set up them fences, it's an illusion, because remember they're saying that they're coming here to what? To keep the city safe, nigga. When you put a fence, that's literally a division, bro. You're putting a division between you and me. So you got the people on the outside, and then the fence is supposed to be protecting the ICE agents. But what happens soon when ICE gets right, and they start coming around in your cities? Now the tables turn, because they're leaving them fenced areas to come into your neighborhoods, and you gonna end up in the fenced areas. All right, so that's why they're building all this shit. They said Walmart was closing a whole bunch of stores. I forget exactly what it was, but I think it was last week or the week before. They said they're looking to close down a whole lot of their stores all across the states, man. I said, oh, here we go. Because they said it's part of their documents. There's going to come a time where they're going to fuck with the weather modification. They said by 2025, the military is going to have power over weather modification. You about to start seeing some shit from now throughout the winter. You're going to see some shit. All right? They said they're going to fuck with the food. That's what you're seeing right now. They said they're going to start a crisis that could last about 6 weeks. And within that 6 weeks, the people are soft enough for you to bring in whatever solution they may be. So you're seeing a squeeze happening. Everything that we've been saying over the past 10 years, it's all playing out right now, man. Hey, there you go.
And I would bet money with the closing of Walmarts, the ones they keep open, I guarantee you those Walmarts are close to train tracks.
There you go.
Yeah. And they got Walmart in all 50 states. Every state has a Walmart in it, and it's close to the major population area of that state. So it's a setup that's been played out. And another point I wanted to mention too was Eric Adams dropped out of the race because he already knows that Mamdani's coming in there. So he's like, shit, Trump's about to go crazy on New York. I might as well get out the way.
Trump told him to get out the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those voters that would have potentially voted for him, all those voters are now going to go to Madame. They're not voting. They're not putting Cuomo in the office.
And he's been sold out to Trump. He's been sold out to Trump, Adam.
Yeah, definitely. Because he said he wasn't even running that as a Democrat no more. He was running as an independent. I got one more scripture. We close it out. 2nd Ezra 16. Whoever want to break it down got it. 2nd Ezra 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And and that goes into the what you call it, you know, this whole AI system. It's an idol, man. And you got people. What did Mark Zuckerberg say? That if you not augment you're going to be at a cognitive disadvantage. AKA, if you don't get augmented, you won't be deemed retarded in society. But that society's going to get so upgraded based on the technology, look at that as a retard.
That's why eventually, because you have Schwab was saying that transparency, right? Transparency.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you live in a society where you're not trying to be transparent, there's going to be a problem. So it's going to go. At first, it's going to start with the bullshit of you're retarded. Look at you, not even augmented. Everyone is doing it. But again, society gets to a certain level where if you're in that society and you're not up to that level, you're deemed a T. When you watch 1984, that's the premise behind it. Oh, you're not compliant? If you're not in compliance, I don't care if you're an old man sitting in a house somewhere, you're not bothering nobody. You're just not compliant with our system. You are a problem for us. We're gonna come after you. And then make sure that you comply. If you don't comply, we eliminate you. That's it. Because it's their world now. It's the world of the wicked. It's very short, very dark time, but it's their power, it's their time. It's their time for them to so-called shine in darkness. You know some shit?
But they're already telling people now that you gotta learn how to use AI. You know,
Jobs.
AI, jobs. AI is becoming it's like how when the computer first came out. Those that got down with using a computer, you thrived in life, and like you got better in life. If you didn't have a smartphone, you didn't have a smartphone, you were like, damn, you behind the time. So that's why, right? Yep, that's why with the AI, that's that idol that they're telling people that you got to be able to use this. You got to be able to know how to have this function. But then it's going to get to the point where you're not using it, it's using you. Like y'all now, you get merged with it. And if you don't merge with it, then you're not going to be able to do anything in society.
I saw a video of it's an old video of when the laptop first came out, and you had people calling the call centers all the time, and basically there was a technician who was showing this lady who wanted to buy one how to use it, and it was something very basic. He was trying to show her how to either plug in the charger or turn it on or just function on it, shit that even your grandma could do today on the computer. Which button do I press to turn it on? And which button does this what? And these are all basic things. But I was looking at how it was foreign to them because it had just come out. But now look at how common it is. Like if somebody cannot turn on a laptop today, you know that they're either really, 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 really old or they're blind. Yeah. So imagine how normal it is to use a computer, to use a laptop, to use a smartphone today, being AI. You know, to where now everybody, and they're gonna make it more and more integrated into your life to where your jacket might have AI in it. You know what I'm saying? Like your clothes might have AI in it. Yeah. You know? Yeah, AI in your clothes, AI in everything, to where you get accustomed to using it. All you gotta do is just talk to it. You know?
Yep, they show you that in the movies. You wake up. Yeah. They show you that in the movies where if you're in a futuristic movie, you'll wake up. Hey, Marie. Hey, Tommy. Talks to you. Oh yeah, here I got your coffee already made. You know, what's the weather out today? This, and that. You should probably wear this. It's like they call it a AI agent.
Yeah.
Where it's basically doing things for you, so you don't got to think about those things to do anymore. Yep. So that's why they say people are going to be more productive. But they said people are also going to be. It's funny because they said that people are going to be in their image of a utopia world. What AI is going to do is take away so many of the stresses that people can only think about positive things in life. You only have the positive things is based on, once again, it's based off of Esau's mindset. So no more stresses, so everybody can love everybody.
Yeah.
That's their mindset. Everybody can love everybody. There's no man, there's no woman. It's just love. It's just the feeling of just feeling good. Lawless. It's the lawless.
It's lawless.
Meanwhile, they're creating AI technology right now, like sex robots. They say, people are lonely and they need companionship. So now you got men. They say in Germany they got a robot sex brothel. Yeah. They go in there, man, bro. And then they go home. And then the women are getting mad now. They say, we could give you everything. Why are you laying with a robot? And the niggas are saying, The robot give me everything for the best shit that you can give me. So yeah, they take it and they don't talk back. You're the one who's running your mouth. That's why I'm running away to the robots. So they already assimilating society to think this shit is okay.
And you know what those robots do? What they can do? You can actually change up how the robot looks too. So like you can design the type of woman the type of AI woman that you want. So I want a girl with blonde hair. I want it 5'4". I want her to have a size 3. They give you that robot, give you the voice. Kingdom.
Yeah,
that's because in the kingdom we're gonna be able to change up, get all the women that we want to I like it. You start up with as wicked it ends as wicked. It's wicked.
Oh, let me put the camera on the brother. Action question there.
Anybody wondering that?
That was it. That is it. If you don't know that's wicked, you wicked.
But you know, they're normalizing this shit. They saying that AI is messing with the children, not using it.
No.
Nowadays, kids, it's like they're born into this shit. You know what I'm saying? I say when we were growing up, we didn't have cell phones. Yeah, the landline. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But now the kids, like when they're born, like for them to shut the fuck up, the parents put a freaking iPad. Yeah. So it's like AI is already, and they're at a certain age where they can't even, their brain is not fully developed to be seeing the things that they're seeing. And a lot of these shows that they're pushing for the children to watch because your parents are so busy, it's all witchcraft, man.
Coco Melon.
Yep.
Coco Melon, all that shit. It's all
now they're pushing the
TG stuff.
A lot of people boycotting
Netflix. Yeah. They're targeting the children, bro, and they're using witchcraft. I'm telling you, I went to this home one time. This was last year or early this year in the wintertime. And I'm doing my thing, looking for wives, all that. And there's a kid sitting there in their couch. Their mother's upstairs, and the kid is listening to this, watching this show. There's a cartoon or whatever. And all you hear is this guy, and I'm just like these anime shit. And I'm like, I'm listening to this shit. And he says, and the power of saying this. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. And the kid is listening, like he's watching, like it's just a cartoon to him. And then he's like, and the black Kabbalah. And I'm like, do you know what this goes back to? I'm here. I'm like, yo, they're putting this in the shows for kids to watch. Yeah. I think I did a video on it after. I was so heated. I'm like, yo, if it was my kid, boy, look at kid. You see? But they don't have that structure at home. You live with your mom, she's busy. You know, they say that you know, you're gonna have less time at work and more time to spend with your family and friends. Nigga, bro, 32 hours a week is not enough for you to go take care of your family. You're gonna be stressing about work and money. The UBI's gonna come in. So they trick people to say, oh, no more 40-hour weeks. I think you were saying something about your job, right? Yeah. Well, you actually 32 hours, then you gotta go find 8 hours, something like that. You gotta go to the state. See? So that's the system they want to set up. So no more. They say, oh, no more tax on no more taxes on overtime. Ain't nobody making overtime to be getting the tax thing. Right. That should have been something you should have done 10, 20 years ago. Yep. Not right now.
So they do.
Yeah. So people fell for this shit. They, oh yeah, Trump, no tax on tips. You're not working in no place to be getting tips to be not taxed on anyway.
People don't be tipping like that. To go. Shit. Yo, you know, tax. I ain't tipping no to go.
So now you know what they do? They put it automatic. When you about to use your card, they have it right there.
Yep.
18%. I said no tip. You serving me? I'm already paying for this shit. You all you have to do is just package it for me. I could have jumped over the counter and done it myself. Shit, I see the prices.
People getting mad now with not getting no tip.
No tip, yeah.
Like even like Uber drivers, they're like, yo, you ain't tip me. You ain't tip me.
Yeah,
like I stop up with me. You better go get on the Uber.
Yeah, the whole spirit of gratitude. That's another strain on the economy. Las Vegas ain't no what's that word? People that come and visit. What's that shit called? Tourists. Yeah, ain't no tourists in Las Vegas, man. Then people who work in the restaurant business, they going out of business, right? So you can't work to make 40 hours a week when your bills is like $2,000 a month, and you working 3 jobs a day just to make ends meet, and you still not making ends meet, right? And then it hits you on your health insurance and this insurance and that insurance, and you paying all this every month. But when it's time for you to use it, they give you that pull nickel and dime your shit. Oh my God, insurance can't even cover this shit. Why the fuck am I paying for insurance anyway? Right. It's all a fucking joke, man. And this is what these people are finally realizing now. When they get to a point where they're like, "Yo, enough is enough." Trump says, "No, I got the troops ready for you." Enough is enough for what? We're now about to start the games, man. The Lord says, "What? The cruel Lord," right? So it's now about to begin.
The Lord said, what? The beginning of sorrows. All this is part of it, man. We told you this was gonna happen. So hey, ain't no, oh, we didn't know. Now you know. You went for it. You voted for this shit. All right, you still going down. No tax on tips. Fuck out of here. Shit.
The angel told him, you know, from the mouth of the Most High that these people are weak just because they only listen to the Lord. You know, and seeing how the brothers explain it, it sounds like, yo, this society is actually making the unbelievers weak, and it's making them subject to Esau's cruelty. Whereas those that believe in YAHAWASHI, the Lord is eventually going to deliver them and make them strong. And what is yeah. It says they're gonna run through like a lion among sheep because what they believe in the Lord. They're gonna be like principal men, you know, so on and so forth.
That's right. When you really look at society, the last real men are the men of the Lord.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's the last real. You have fucking Pete Hegseth, your motherfucking Department of War chief, and you're gonna go over here kidding it.
Yo, that's quick at a football
game. At a football game. You know, help it. I'm like, yo, come on, bro. Like, you're supposed to be the guy that's supposed to lead America to win this next war.
I saw a photo of them. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but nah, that wasn't AI, though. That was some old photos. Oh.
There's the one with Trump and Giuliani. Giuliani's dressed like a bitch.
Yeah. Epstein got a portrait of Clinton in his Epstein Island of Clinton in a dress. Sitting down, it's like a big ass portrait. Right when you walk into his foyer, it's Clinton in the fucking dress with his legs crossed and shit.
Spirit. Everything is male, female shit. That's all you do, man. A man in a dress, bro.
Androgynous.
With his legs crossed.
Oh, fucking, that's brother just mentioned Zelensky.
Oh, yeah. You saw that cross-dressing. You want to see videos and shit? Yeah. Like an actor or whatever.
It's 2017. Yeah, it's about that.
Barbara Bush, that's a whole nigga. You see that? He more masculine than the husband, bro. Bad brolic, bro. I'm like, that's the nigga George Bush lay with. Fuck out of here. Obama. All this shit is all coming out, man. It's all coming out.
They say Macron's wife is a dude.
He's a dude.
Yeah. I want to go that.
Over that shit. She's the one who's been saying it, so they took Candace Owens to court over it.
I don't know about that, man.
It could be, but they all part of the same satanic bloodline.
Meanwhile, the Americans are brain rotted, bed rotting. You right for the MOTB. Just correct me up. Shit. You're right there. I'm good. They're gonna be ready for it. They're gonna dive into that pool of wickedness, man.
Oh, you said second. Second Ezra 16, verse 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. Right? Those are all the people that are the weak men that we was talking about. All the ones that don't have a backbone, and really the backbone is in your rock, which your stability in. That's why we can stand strong, because our foundation is on YAHAWASHI.
Right.
My foot shall not be moved. Right. These people's their foundation is they got slaves. You're fucking with Esau. You're gonna end up in a bad position. So when things start to crumble, when things start to shake, you're gonna be scared as hell. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Those that fear the Lord. And yes, so you're already starting to see that right now. This whole thing with these National Guard troops, that's the beginning of these madmen. Because when you see how they come in, even though it's not a lot of people. No, thanks. When you see how they're approaching people, there are people over there. So, Cardi, you don't got to do this. You don't got to be like, help. They don't give a fuck what happened. People, you can cry, scream, beg. Yeah, you can cry. You can. But it's going. This is the only way. Yep. They don't give. They're not like, once again. They don't care they're gonna be without mercy, man.
Sparing them.
It says, "For they shall waste and take away. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, as they and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same."
That's the enemy coming like a flood, right? When they shall waste and cast, take them out their houses and stuff. That's why, like when the enemy shall come in like a flood, right? Because it says the burning wrath of a great multitude. That's the verse above, and it mentions them coming in, and that's when they're going to be known for the Lord's children.
Storm, yep. And when they said to take away their goods, that's what's going to have a lot of people to cast them out of their houses,
Right.
and take away their goods. That's what's going to have a lot of people bend the knee.
Yeah.
You know, because that's why the Lord has through the Spirit we have been conditioned to be pilgrims on the earth. So these things, even in the same chapter you read up, it says they that labor as if they shall they labor in vain. So Esau cannot use the threat of taking away our cars, our jobs, our goods. He can't use that as a form to make us bow the knee. The Lord already said, "I already have 7,000 that shall not." So it's not nothing you can do. Even our own lives, you can't even threaten in order for us to bow the knee. And that's going back to the theme. That's the confusion, right? Or that you can't override. That's the equation that is fucking you up right now. Like, yo, no matter what I do, I can't get them to go against their God.
Right.
At a certain time, before we knew who YAHAWASHI was, you could have got that off. You could have got that off with Jesus Christ, because that's not a true God.
Right.
That's why you got a lot of these people that took the jump shot. What happened to their faith in God, in Jesus? Yeah, they're doing it in church. That goes to show you that you didn't have true faith, man. Because true faith is a gift.
Yep.
You can't create it.
Talk about those liberties, like stuff taken away, man. We count that as dungleberry.
Yep. And that's like a mindset of a soldier, not being entangled with the affairs of this world, man. You have these things, right? And you use them as, for tools and things of that nature, right? Defenses. But at the end of the day, we know all of this shit is all these elements should be burnt up. Right? What conversations are we to be in? Or knowing that all of this is going to be gone. Even these bodies that we have now, we're not even going to look like this.
Right.
So you can't even, the bodies, you can't even say, yo, you want to save your body? This ain't the body that's going to be the end all be all. The body that you killed YAHAWASHI, it ain't the body that he coming back in. It says, be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. So that is where, that's why you got to keep your eyes single, man. Be pressed toward the higher calling of the mark. When you have that mindset, then the Lord is going to guide you, and that's all you need. All you need is the S equals F and W. Salvation equals faith and works. That's it. That's the equation that you can't get down with, man.
Y and Y.
Who?
Y plus Y.
Oh, yep. No. Anybody else got anything else?
I was gonna say one thing that came to mind because you talk about Esau, the computation. The scripture says he will utter error against the Lord. So that error message should be blaring in his head right now, but he's not seeing it. And really it is blaring because the prophets is the error message, like, you're fucking up, stop what you're doing, but he's just gonna keep going. But then again, we telling him to do it.
He's going down a one way down the wrong way. Keep going.
You shouldn't jump off that cliff, but keep going. Keep going.
It's like you do this coding thing, you send it to somebody who has to review it and approve it. Esau keeps doing his coding and he keeps it to the Lord.
Right.
And he accusing us. The Lord's like, this is not the equation, it's not gonna work. And then we do our thing and he's like, yeah, that's how it's gonna work. They're like, well, how did let's demonize them? It's like that's still going against the code. He's still not getting the equation right.
Well, that's what he said about the accuser of thy brother. You're going up trying to present a case against us. We're presenting a case against you. You presenting a case against us. Well, who actually has the actual justification?
Right. Evidence.
Who has the proof? We got the exhibits. We got all of it. What you got?
Evidence.
They just got a whole bunch of propaganda. Even your so-called Jewish history is all full of bullshit, man. And we could debunk that in 2 seconds. But then when it comes to the prophets of the Lord, we have the evidence, like this one said, we have the evidence, we have the events, okay, the witnesses, and more than one witness. Bro, it's over with, man. This case, every lawyer would take this case. Oh, this case is overwhelming. Yo, y'all the people, yeah. You know, if we were in a righteous society, our case would have been taken a long time ago. Every lawyer want to jump on that. But you niggas, where's your case at? They be like, nah, but we got a fraudulent claim. But you said they've been here for 1,000 years, but we just came in 1948. How are we going to prove that? Nah, we can't prove that. The past citizens fighting against. Well, wipe them out. So we could have a case and say we've been on this land the whole time. Fuck out.
And you know what the thing is, right? They would have understood that the Most High ain't with them if they respected the Most High. Like if you respect someone, you respect the judge. Let me understand how he thinks and let me adjust my way to his way. But the scripture says that he want to be like the Most High. So he think that, you know, he doesn't want to know what the Most High thinks. He wants the Most High to think like he thinks, you know. That's why he's being taught the right way to do a sacrifice, but he's thinking, now let me do it my own way. Like you respected the Most High and how he likes it. He would have done it the way he likes to do things, you know. But that's the only way he can't get it, because he doesn't respect the Most High. And so you would never ever understand the righteousness of the Most High until the Most High kills him.
All right, last one. That's based off what you just said. Don't check the time. Isaiah, what's that? 26. Isaiah chapter 26, verse start at 8. Says, yeah, in the way of thy judgments, O Lord, we have waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name and to the remembrance of thee. See, and this is what we always do. This is what we're out here for, to exalt the name of Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi. And everything that Esau has done, and all of the wisdom that he had, he's never exalted the name of the Heavenly Father and his Son. And he doesn't even, like I said, he doesn't even exalt God and Jesus, right? They talk about their own power and what they're going to do for themselves. Their technocracy is themselves. They made themselves an idol. It says, with my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yeah, and my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. So when the Lord's judgment comes up, that's when they're going to learn it, man. That's when that whole error and the computer, at the end of the day, Esau going to know. You're going to know that you fucked up. You're a fucking demon. And you're going to have to admit it. You're going to have to admit it. Like, yo, I'm wicked.
That's because your job was the whole time you just came into power because you wanted to challenge the Most High by changing the purpose of man on earth. You can't do that, bro. And eventually reality just kind of checks everything. And we're at the time where your reality is about to check everything. All right, you cannot outdo the Heavenly Father. You can't change the purpose of man. He created man for a purpose. That's how it's always going to be. Unfortunately for you, right, you weren't able to hold it down, right? Mismanage the earth and so on and so forth. So now the Lord's going to put in one that's better than you. As he told Saul, pertains to David, we're going to be pretty much in David's stead. All right, we're going to take the kingdom from Saul, and the Lord's going to put David as going to be an everlasting one. That's the end of it for you, devils.
Yep. You know, him trying to change nature, I believe when he tries to fix the environment, it just ends up making shit worse. Like when there was he was trying to save but let's say he wants to save deers, right? But what he does is he makes a lot of tigers around, but then he finds out that he gets less deer. I mean, no, when there's less deers and he wants to kill all the tigers to make sure the deer population comes back up. So when he gets rid of the tigers, the deer population actually decreases, right? Because it's got too much and overgrazed and everything out. But if you trust the balance of the Lord, it would have balanced itself out. But he wants to do all these things. When he cuts down all the lumber, he got so greedy. He's like, damn, this is just like a scar on the earth. Let me